Michigan Nation, it's your boy TJ Ronin. I got a friend of mine here with college football with Sam. How we doing, Sam? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. It's always a great day to talk about college football, and thankfully we're already in the month of April, which is the spring portal window. The spring game month is kind of what April is in college football. So it's good to be on. How are you? And thanks for having me on.
Doing good, man. Enjoying it. Things are starting to heat up. We got news coming out of camp now. We have basketball portals also pretty crazy right now, which I got to talk about that a little bit at some point or in the beginning here. But yeah, man, just getting ready for the spring game. Right? So, are you going to be at the same spring game, Sam?
Probably not.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? No interest. No interest in going.
No, I have interest. I have interest in watching it, but
yeah.
It's a drive and it's a walk. It's time.
Okay. So, fair enough, man. Why. Fair enough. All right. So as you guys know, this is the call-in show. For every $100, we will go an extra hour. We appreciate our community for coming through. Last week we did get our bonus hour, so that was very exciting. The call-in link is in the description, guys. You guys want to call in? We do 5-minute calls. Looking forward to that. And I also threw it in the comments section. So call in, and me and Sam will take your questions. Sam, before we get into the questions that I want to get in with you, I do want to address a social media post that I put out the other day that had Queen Jolynn, and I gave the eye emoji, just kind of like, all right, we got to pay attention here. So just to let everybody know what was my intent of that tweet, and I'll break down what's going on with that to the best of my knowledge at this time. But the Queen's been activated. So that essentially means Michigan has reached out to the Ellisons and are looking to land a player that I won't name, although that name's out there, but we'll let you guys figure out who that is. And Michigan has made an aggressive offer. There is another school involved. And from my understanding, that other school that's involved has actually countered and has the highest offer. It is in Michigan's court now to respond. And there is apparently a window in which they will come to a conclusion on the current negotiations. So we will see how that transpires, where that goes. But just know that the reason I put that out there is because, well, the good news is basketball is also getting the assist in the NIL space. And there's actually a lot of exciting news with that. Whether or not we land this player or not, it would be great. But it doesn't matter at the end of the day, because what does matter is Michigan's in a position where they can land players like this. And what's also exciting is there's a lot of players, both football and basketball, in the future that will be at Michigan due to these resources. So just wanted to clarify it is. So Dave's here. Is it a transfer as a recruit? We're talking about a transfer portal player for basketball. But I will not name the name out of respect to the situation. Although one might argue, Sam, well, if you're posting about it, but at the end of the day, we'll share our tidbits to the best of our ability, but I will lay low on just naming who that individual is. Although I'm pretty sure people can connect the dots. It's not hard to figure out. But anyways, so just to address that, I wanted to get that clear for everybody. But let's get into it, Sam. We have a big season. We have spring ball going on right now. my question to you, and I love getting new guests on here and just getting their feel for how do they feel about the program? How do you feel about Michigan? How do you feel about the trajectory of the program? And, what do you think about how Michigan is going to do in 2025?
Well, that's a very loaded question just because of all the changes that we saw from 2023 to 2024. I mean, from my perspective personally, I don't have any questions about the program's resources. I think those are an A plus for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously, like program tradition and blue blood status, A plus. I think the roster right now is still pretty good and not the best roster in college football, but I think definitely in that tier 2, or some could even argue tier 1B if they're developed correctly, a category. I think my biggest question mark is with the coaching staff. Like, how does Sharon Moore improve with game management, with timeout usage, with knowledge of the rules
Yeah.
and clock management, stuff like that? And roster wise, my biggest question would be the wide receiver room. And overall, just I'd say how quickly can that side of the ball acclimate to Chip Lindsey's offense? I think Bryce Underwood, and maybe this is a little bit premature, but I think he's going to be at a bare minimum good. I think it's
Yeah.
a question of how high is his ceiling, and I think also more so just how quickly can the pieces around him assemble.
Definitely. So let's get into that. Let's get into the Bryce Underwood saga, because there's been a lot of noise early in camp. And, and I don't know, Sam, if you paid attention to our podcast or my position on it. So initially, before camp started, I was leaning towards, Mikey Keene potentially starting the season. And, not that Bryce Underwood wouldn't get opportunity or snaps. I was thinking something along the lines of a 60-40, 70-30 distribution in game one. But you allow the veteran to get in the game. You ease Bryce into it. But it appears, because we've learned Mikey Keene has an injury, it does appear to be something that will be time extensive. And Bryce Underwood, by all accounts, is just there is a quote that came out recently that Bryce Underwood is exceeding expectations already in camp as a freshman, as a 17-year-old, guys. Let's stress that he can't even vote. So what's your thoughts on this early? Now, obviously we haven't seen it yet, so it's a lot of it is just word of mouth, right? But what's your thoughts on these early returns that we're kind of hearing out of camp right now?
Well, I think with Bryce Underwood, based off of what I've read about him, some film I've watched, some conversations I've had with other, I would say, insightful college football fans or even experts, or listening to them, not just talking to them. I think that worst case scenario, I think that Michigan gets Dylan Raiola year one, but with legs. And legs matter a lot now. This isn't 15 or 20 or even 10 years ago. I think now being a pro style quarterback is a negative. It's no longer average or just you don't have a niche skill set. It is a negative to be a pocket quarterback. It's just my opinion. And I just, for reference, I haven't played the sport. I am young. I have a lot to learn, but I also think I know a little bit of what I'm talking about. I think that it's nice to have a quarterback that has that level of athleticism and can scramble and be used in a designed run type of offense, like what Chip Lindsey has used with his quarterbacks, whether at Auburn or whether at North Carolina, or I think he was at UCF with Gus Malzahn for a year or two. Am I wrong? Or
Wait, Chip Windsor, you said USC?
UCF.
Yes, he
Gus
was with
Malzahn.
UCF. Yes, that's
Okay.
correct. He was with UCF. Yes.
I remembered correctly then. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I think worst case scenario. And I think at best case scenario, and the truth is typically somewhere in the middle, but best case scenario, he could be to Michigan what Jeremiah Smith was to Ohio State, except he's at quarterback and not at wide receiver.
I like that.
He's
okay.
that. He's he's been compared to Vince Young out of high school. All the recruiting analysts, all the people I talk to who are kind of like they have insider connections, but they kind of have it more for fun or for betting purposes rather than having a show. They all say he's an uber talented weapon. So that gives me permission, I think, and I think that gives a lot of people permission to buy in. I don't think it's surprising that he's excelling this early, because from my perspective, the minute he committed, I thought to myself, he's starting game one. Like, he's just that talented, and Michigan needs to, they need to get this thing clicking.
Yeah, well, it does definitely appear that he will be starting game one. So there's and because of how well he's played in spring, there's what I'm hearing is that Michigan is going to try and find him another weapon in the portal, wide receiver, regarding like the wide receiver position. So we will see if they can do that. Last portal, they went into it trying to do, I think, a little bit more than they did, but the price point was just kind of crazy. And Michigan does operate with an NFL model when it does come to NIL in terms of salary ranges and that's, you know, that type of stuff. So we'll see what they can do with that. All right. So my next question for you, Sam, is give me a record prediction for next season.
I think that it's either going to be 10-2 or 11-1. The other one's going to be the second most likely deviation.
Yeah.
And the logic behind that is I think that the only team on the schedule that has a better roster than Michigan is Ohio State, and Michigan gets them at home. They have some matchup advantages with them that have actually kind of, I think, reappeared, that weren't there last year or weren't there in 2023, but were there the prior 2 years, and they've kind of come back for a variety of reasons. And then outside of that, I think that Michigan is going to be gettable. I think that they do have some vulnerabilities. I don't think this is a national championship contender. Personally, I think it would take everything panning out. It truly would, and you just can't count on that. Like USC on the road, it's going to be tough. Oklahoma on the road will be tough. Nebraska, Michigan State. I mean, those are the 4 games along with the Ohio State game that I look at, and I think, yeah, that could be hard. Those could be losses.
Yeah, so I am similar to you. I have a 10-2 record right now. I do think we're a playoff team, but I do not have us as a national championship contender. Although I will say, if we looked at last year's playoffs, although I'm going to argue with myself too. So let me make this point and then argue with myself. If we did last year's playoff and we had a quarterback, we would have been a contender. We were a quarterback away from being a contender in last year's playoffs, in my opinion. That said, we're about to lose. We lost 4 potential first-round picks that we're not going to have next season. Although, by all accounts, out of spring ball right now, is the defense, especially the front 7, is looking very good. We're talking TJ Guy, we're talking Derek Moore, we're talking Rayshon Benny, and there's been some praise for Dominic Nichols and Cam Brandt. Is that potentially a sign that the offensive line is vulnerable? Or are those dudes just, and typically in spring ball or fall camp, the defense is ahead of the offense, so that these things happen. But, you know, I do anticipate this defense to be near elite again, top 15 or better. You know, especially now that Wink's got the college game kind of under, you know, a year under his belt. But the offense is going to be the question. But there's a lot of excitement out of the offense. Last question before we get to our callers here, Sam. What's your thoughts on this offense and what are realistic expectations?
I think that realistic expectations, that's so tough. I mean, I think it's guaranteed to be top 50 just because of the
on same page,
yeah, it's guaranteed to be there. I think that if you want to treat Michigan like a blue blood and you want to treat Michigan like a team that can/should be the best in the Big Ten, you should expect it to be top 25. I don't know if it will be that way, but I kind of view it to the theory that I viewed Ohio State when they first hired Jim Knowles. Like, don't expect top 10 or top 5 in year 1, but it should be top 25 year's end, like at bare minimum.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's kind of. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So we agree. So my expectations a top 40 offense. And I agree with you. I think not year one, potentially year two, especially after some wide receivers kind of see what this offense can do, see what Bryce is. We get some more portal additions. We get some more big time. Michigan's trying to swing for some elite wide receivers in recruiting to start year one as freshmen. We'll see if they can achieve that. We're hearing there's some hesitancy on that because they want to see it before they can commit to it. But anyways, yeah, I think we should definitely have a top 20 offense in the future. If you're going to land quarterbacks like Bryce Underwood, right? And the way this offense, and that's the thing too, is like, I don't know how much you've dived into the numbers with Chip Lindsey, but Chip Lindsey has had top 10 offenses before. So it's not out of the realm of possibility, especially with the talent that Michigan's going to be accumulating. So, all right, boys, let's get to, we are 95 away from our second hour. GT gave us a super chat. He goes, question for both of you. With the current status of Little Brothers NIL, should they start in OnlyFans? GT, I don't think it would hurt for Michigan State considering they're getting smoked right now. They're losing players not only in basketball, but they're having a hard time recruiting. They need to do what they can to generate some money here. Sam, I don't know if you have a take on the OnlyFans perspective here, but what's your thoughts on Michigan State and its NIL situation, if you are familiar with it?
I think Michigan State should funnel as much money as they possibly can into their football program because I think their program is a sleeping giant if they utilize it properly. I think Smith is a really good coach. I actually, and people have called me insane for this, but one of my takes is that Michigan State currently has one of the best college football staffs in the country. I just think Oregon State's staff was that good. I think that Tucker left the roster in a worse position than D'Antonio did, and he did not leave it in exactly a good place. And Michigan State, I will say last year, the Illinois game wasn't good. The Rutgers game was an atrocity. Indiana wasn't good. But what I will say is in that game against Ohio State at home, the game against Michigan on the road, for that first quarter against Indiana, they showed sparks, even with a, injured, inconsistent year one roster. And I think they should invest as much as they possibly can in football. I don't know enough about basketball to really give too many insights there, although I think Izzo proved this year that he still is at least a good coach.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that football is the future. Football is the revenue sport. Football is where your passion is, where your money is made, and you have to treat that appropriately. The last thing Michigan State needs to be is a basketball school. They need, that can be a good side piece for them, but I think they have a really good coach. And I think that they, with what they have potential wise in NIL, I know they're not utilizing it. I think that they have a shot to, jump into a territory that they haven't consistently been in since, 2013 to 15, or even better than that, because those teams weren't recruiting at a high caliber. They were developing very well. That's kind of my thoughts on that. I know a lot of people may disagree with that, but I think that Michigan State's, I think they have a lot of potential there.
So I do where I agree with you is there's no reason they shouldn't be a top 25 program. One thing that's interesting, Sam, and you may appreciate this thought, this topic is, you ever notice, and I'm sure you have, whenever Michigan is down, Michigan State's typically up. And whenever Michigan's up, Michigan State has a hard time being up. One would argue, well, it's because the recruits are going to Michigan, vice versa. But it's really not the case, because actually when Michigan State was up, they were getting a lot of kids out of state, especially Ohio. They were really targeting Ohio. But, the thing about Michigan State is they don't have the support of the administration to have a dominant football team. And they definitely don't have the support of the donors, which is really interesting because they have a lot of billionaires. I mean, they have, we know some of the famous ones, right? But what do you think about their quarterback, Aiden Childs? I mean, he did not have a good year last year.
I think it's year one in the system. The pass blocking wasn't good. It was his first time as a starter. I mean, there are concerns, but I think that the offense is the strength of Smith. They return a lot of production. They get Marsh back. They get Velling back. They got some nice players in the portal for the O-line. I think I'm high on Childs. I like Childs. Yeah, that is interesting about the donor part. The only thing I can think of speculating is that maybe they liked the idea of Tucker a bit too much, and then they got burned, and now they're just reluctant to, because Tucker coached at Ohio State with Tressel and actually with D'Antonio too. Like, he was on that staff. He played at Wisconsin. So if you're obsessed about beating Michigan and being a Big Ten team, well, he kind of fit that at least superficial mold. Smith doesn't at all. Smith has never been east of the Mississippi. He's never been east of the Rocky Mountains, actually. He's a total California, Oregon guy. And he's not exactly as loud or rambunctious. I mean, he's quieter, I think, than both Mel Tucker and D'Antonio. But I think at the end of the day, I think he's a really good coach.
I agree with you. I think he is a good coach, but I think he needs some Jimmys and Joes. I really do. I'll be honest. I'm not positive. I know it's a Michigan podcast, but this is because I pay attention to Michigan State because obviously they're rival, they're in state, and it's an interesting situation going on there. I do not think Jonathan Smith is going to last at Michigan State. And I don't think it's because of Jonathan Smith. I think it's just he's not going to get the resources needed. Like, if you just look at their recruiting, it is so bad. Their transfer portal holes are not strong. I mean, he's going to have to do what he did. And then, Sam, you may argue, well, look what he did with Oregon State. It wasn't like they were recruiting great. He really developed these guys. He identified talent, and he was able to X and O really well against other teams and get his team to a point where Oregon State was legit. That was a good team his final year there. I mean, it was a really good team, a team that could compete with Power 4 teams, like good Power 4 teams too, not just like average Power 4 teams. So yes, but the Big Ten is such a monster now. Like, that's the thing, is like, this conference is a gauntlet, and it can now be legitimately argued it's better than the SEC.
At the top, it absolutely is.
Yeah, which is like makes it so hard for programs like Michigan State. So I do think it's a good brand. I just don't think they're ready to win. And I mean the school. I don't mean Jonathan Smith. I think Jonathan Smith we'll see though. It's something we'll definitely watch. I'm fascinated to see how it goes. But yeah, it's interesting over there.
I have a source like a guy who I talked to who's like pretty well connected with multiple people. If you don't believe me, that's totally okay, because even like he says it's like very dependent, but the donors, the donors are very much in wait and see mode, and they're not patient. Sure. So let's say they start off the year bad. You're talking about like they might drain the cow until the cow's dead and they can get a new one.
Well, what's interesting is I've been hearing on my end that like the donors, like, and it's not just a Michigan thing or just other schools, but if you're not winning, they're not interested in donating. But it's like, how do you win if you don't get, like, if you have to donate to win? Like,
well, that's the opportunity. That's the opportunity with Michigan State this year. Is their schedule, I think, is easy enough to where they could win 7 or 8 games with their current roster. Like, and that's me. That's actually me assuming Indiana's going to be top 10 again. If the bottom falls out in Indiana, you're talking about maybe like 9 wins, possibly for MSU. Possibly, not a guarantee, but they don't have Ohio State or Oregon on there again. They got Michigan at home, Penn State at home might be the one auto loss, but every other game they'll have a chance. They'll probably be within 2 touchdowns of power ratings or close.
Let's look at it. So Western Michigan should be a win. Boston College
should be a win.
Tough. USC is going to be tough. Youngstown's a win, so we'll give them that. All right, let's just say they start 3-0. USC's tough.
I'd say a loss.
Yeah, okay, we'll give them a loss there. Nebraska, I'm going to give a loss. Well, how's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that are that's one of the that's a win they could steal, but yeah, let's go with a loss, for example.
So they'll beat UCLA. They'll lose to Indiana.
Yep.
Lose to Michigan. This is a tough one for them at Minnesota.
This is a tough one. I would say.
Let's say they get it. That's 5.
Yes.
They lose to Penn State.
Yep.
We all know that it's tough to go to Kinnick Stadium. They may get 6 wins.
Yeah.
They may get 6 wins. And they had and like some of those games are 50-50, you know. So maybe they surprise us though. Maybe they're a problem. You know, year 2 in the system, we'll see how it goes. But it's interesting. It's interesting to look at. But all right, we will get to our callers now. Again, I want to remind everybody we are 95 away from a second hour, 25 minutes into the show. Greatly appreciate everyone who has and will contribute to the show. All right, let's get West Quad up in the house. What's up, West Quad? How we doing, man?
What's going on? What's up, Sam? I absolutely did not expect to be first. I actually waited to not be first.
Not be first?
And yet here we are.
Here we are, bro. You know, considering you can't decide between cookies and brownies, bro, I actually contemplated even bringing you up.
Brookies. Boom.
Bro, it's brownies, bro.
Bro, you got to go with the mixture, bro.
Sam, what do you prefer? Cookies or brownies?
Cookies. But both are good.
Okay. Both are good, bro.
All right, here we go. We're gonna be all right. Every caller now has to answer this very critical question: is it cookies or is it brownies? And I am on team brownies, so let's see how we do tonight. So far, it is 2-1 cookies to brownies. I will be keeping score.
Look, you got to put me down for a half for both.
No, that's how this works. That's how this works, West Squad.
There's no more ties.
Look, you trying to make me pick between Michael Jackson and Prince, and I'm just not gonna be able to do it. Give me a half a point for each.
All right. So what you got for us, West Squad? What's going on, brother?
I don't know, man. I'm like every calling show, I'm just ready to get past this sweltering heat down south. And let's go, man. Let's go fall, bro. I'm ready to get into it. I believe in the team. The more I think about it, the more like bullish I'm getting.
Bro, you're already bullish. You're so Sam, you may not know who I don't know if you're familiar with West Quad, but he currently has Michigan 12-0.
Oh wow.
As bullish as it gets, West
10-2
Quad.
is the floor, though. I believe we can lose. I mean, obviously, I'm no pie in the sky shit. I believe we can lose some games. But right now, I just believe like the more I hear about this team, the more I believe. So THC Brownies. I'm down with that. I got some stories about that.
Johnny Olden in the house. I told you, Johnny.
Oh yeah, Johnny Olden. Good to see you.
That's why I said Brookies, bro.
Me and Johnny may have a special announcement for you guys soon.
It really depends on the line, bro. And I'm not worried about the defensive line anymore. I mean, I know it's coach speak. We got, they said we got three sets of starters. But the O-line, bro, if the O-line comes together, I believe in this team.
Yeah, I mean, to Sam's point, if we're going to achieve top 50 offense level shit here, this offensive line has got to play cohesive football. We cannot afford what we experienced last year, those first 3-4 games where it was very, it was a line with liability, you know?
Yeah. I mean, if we gel from day one, then the sky's the limit. But, we'll obviously see. But, yeah, I'm all in, bro.
No doubt. In Oklahoma, we're gonna learn a lot week 2. We're gonna learn a lot.
Man, we're
gonna learn if Bryce can handle things this early. Not that he can't, but it's early for a kid who's gonna just turn 18.
Right.
We're gonna learn if this offensive line can handle it. We're gonna learn if this team can handle being on the road in that atmosphere, because you better believe these Oklahoma fans are gonna be coming for blood. It's a big game. That's going to be a very exciting game to watch for everybody. And if we do get that win, holy cow, the trajectory of the season, because ours, we didn't go through our schedule, Sam, but I know you're familiar with it. It looks good. It looks favorable. So if we can get that victory and Bryce looks good, this fan base is going to be on cloud 9.
I believe it.
Yeah. Let me see. So what's what else you got for us, brother?
I don't know. I'm kind of stuck on the Rod Moore thing. I I think that if there's any position where we can afford to lose a guy like Rod Moore, it is in the deep secondary. But I want him back there. No, I don't want to hear any of that nickel talk. Get out of here. I want him
Well,
back.
you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be disappointed because it has. Was
I
it
want him
weak?
back, bro. But then
Somebody
again,
just
I'll let the
mentioned
coaches
that,
do it. It's on the coaches, but
yeah, he's gonna because there's word that he's gonna be nickel's what they're looking at when he comes back.
so who's the deep safety then? Who's
So
the
I
safety?
have Brandon Hillman with TJ Metcalf.
Yeah, I was going to say it's Hillman, Metcalf, and Moore, your starting safeties, I think.
Yeah, if Moore is playing nickel. Now I've seen some people project Mason Curtis back there to be determined. I'm sure fall camp will decide that, but
I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
Hillman up top would be fine, but I like him better as a strong. But like I said, this is the coach's decision. I mean, I'm not playing freaking college football 25, so
Yeah, we'll see.
But I would
We'll
definitely I want Rod Moore, Rod Moore at the free, Hillman at the strong, and TJ Metcalf as the nickelback. But
You want Metcalf as the nickelback? Well, that's not going to happen. I know that for a fact that won't happen. They're not putting him at nickelback.
Well, or switch out him and Hillman then. But I mean, I think Rod Moore can handle the nickel. I don't know, man. I like him. I like him where he's been playing. I don't think you change somebody that's like entrenched in their position to a nickelback. But we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, we will see. And I'm sure if it goes bad, you'll be here calling, letting us know. I told you.
Look, I don't want to be. I don't want to have those calls this year because I'm all in. But I'll definitely make the call. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I know, man. All right, West Squad. Appreciate you, man. We're gonna get to our next callers here. Maybe we'll get to a second hour. You can call back in, brother.
All right, go blue.
Go blue, my friend.
Go blue.
All right, boys. Again, 95 away from a second hour. Let's do the damn thing. We'll get our next caller up here. It is Marmar. Marmar, are you available? Let me know if you're available. He is.
Yeah, what up, though? What's up, though?
You tell me, brother.
Hey,
listen. Hey, what's up, college football with Sam?
It's a great day to talk college football. It's been a long day. It's a good day.
It's always a great day to talk college football. Every day, 24/7, while we dreaming. While you're dreaming. Oh, you about to score a touchdown? Yeah, wake up out of your dream type stuff.
Hey, Marmar.
Yes, college football.
Marmar,
actually, speaking of that, can I quickly tell him something?
Go.
I once had a dream. This was in 2021. I had a dream that Justin Fields got hurt at Ohio State and Stroud replaced him, and then Fields transferred to Michigan and we beat them at home. It was a pretty fun dream. I remember that vividly.
Listen, if they can create a player on, I'm playing, but yeah, man, that would have been dope. I would love to see some stuff like that. Anybody would have loved to see that.
That's how you know
Ohio. Yeah, Ohio State.
Beating Ohio State with Ohio State players. That's how we know Sam's a sicko. I love it. West Marmar, let them know your seats for week 1.
Hey, so college football with Sam and TJ. I said the name like that on purpose. All right now. So Bryce is starting because the chatter out of Shinback Hall from the players, not the coaches, the players, even ex-players that are going into the draft have spoke on him. Say he's very mature beyond his age, very wise, real put together, ready to come in to work every day, want to better his craft. If you listen to the Conor Stallions a couple of days ago, you'll know that he used to sit down with, Conor and, study defenses. And word coming out of Shinback Hall, he's a tough little cookie. Bouncing off tackles. The defense Sharon Moore already came out and said, we got to learn how to tackle him. You know what I'm saying? He's dicing them up. But you like that say, iron sharpen iron, right? So the defense is gonna be well equipped for anybody that try to throw what Bryce is throwing at him. And Bryce is a high talented guy. And then you got to practice against that every week, and that's just gonna sharpen that defense and that offense, because we are not facing the dilemmas that we are facing coming into 2024. We are more well equipped coaching wise. I think they got that shit together. Excuse my French. And then now this roster, as you look, in and out at this roster, you're gonna be like, yes, it's like, whoa, we had this 8-5 season, but 2025 could be a 2023 special season because of the depth. You know what I'm saying? They can throw 3 waves of defensive linemen at you. That's crazy. The offensive line, if you really wanted to rotate guys, I don't know if that's a thing, but it could be a thing. You know what I'm saying? Keep the bodies fresh where, you can slow down defenses because you keep throwing these fresh bodies at them. That's a 10-man rotation at Michigan. Well, you got a lot of linebackers. You got a lot of DBs. Know the system. A lot of these guys played on played in the Ricardo's Bowl in the system, and they really shined. They really showed us something. Now you get to sharpen that up. What you got coming in, transfer portal, everything, all gelling. Man, it's gonna be nasty, man. It's nasty work coming, and I want people to understand we coming. It's no forgiving. Everybody that laughed at us last year, we coming. Go blue.
Marmar letting it be known that we are in fact coming. All right, so Marmar, here's one thing though: we do not want to rotate our offensive linemen, but defensive line we definitely do. We'll see, man. I mean, it should be a good team. I'm interested to see what they do in the portal here because there's some smoke that they're going to be aggressive. We heard that last portal though, so I do want to give you guys that with a grain of salt, and we'll see here. Sam, what are your concerns for 2025 for Michigan in terms of what position groups do you have your biggest question marks for?
I would say wide receiver.
Yeah.
Offensive line in terms of ceiling, I think their floor is pretty high. I still think they'll be pretty good. I'm curious what will happen at tight end, especially since Penn State's taken some players from Michigan that I think the staff planned on being there. Rapelia, maybe I'm saying his name wrong, but he ended up going to Penn State kind of last minute. It's the same thing with our most recent tight end commit. Andrew Olesh, I believe.
Yes.
Yep. And then I would also say, last but not least, linebacker. Linebacker had major issues last year. And I think, just my personal opinion, I think that is the worst coached position on defense. So how does that look? Because if linebacker is awesome, then I think the entire defense is going to be awesome.
Do you not? Okay, so here's our position on that. From the beginning of the season to the midway point, the linebacker position was actually very poor. A lot of issues, missed tackles, lost in space, not filling gaps. But it did seem to us that from midpoint of the year on, Barham and Houseman really stepped up. And they looked to me like they were playing almost elite level football. I mean, that defense, what's crazy, Sam, something we talk about on this show is, as poor as that defense played in the beginning of the year, it did finish top 10 in the nation.
Oh, yeah.
Because
it was awesome at the end of the year.
It really mid-year on, it really took it to the next level. I mean, and that's crazy because you started at a deficit. We were getting cooked. Our defense was very vulnerable. I mean, who'd we go against week 3 last year? I can't remember who it was. Was it Arkansas State? Dude, they were putting yards on us.
Yeah.
It's Arkansas State, so but I think the linebacker play will be better. It is interesting you mentioned that you think it's the worst coached position because Brian Jean-Marie was brought here to be an ace recruiter, and so far he has not. Well, he did get a Wasu Boateng, so let me just qualify. That's actually a really good land. But so far he has not lived to that billing. Lamar Morgan has lived to that billing. He's our best recruiter. But yeah, we'll see. I have high expectations for Houseman and Barham going into year 2 together. Marmar, what else you got for us, my friend?
Oh, so yeah. Thank you. Yeah, man. I just wanted I was gonna say the same thing you were saying about the linebackers. I I think they did good. I mean, I watched a few highlights on is it how you say his name? Roder?
Yeah, Jimmy
Um,
Rolder.
yeah, Jimmy Roder. I watched it. Man, he's tough. He can get off he can get off a block and he in there. And like I said, yeah, like they did good at the end of the season. I was impressed. The growth. I just think Wink Martindale was a little too cocky, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the big dog, I'm in the NFL. And he really, thought, hey, this is gonna work here. But he adjusted. We got better. We shut teams down. Um, and I think that's a good thing to build on going forward.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, Wink definitely evolved as the season went on, which was good to see. All right, Mark, we're gonna get to our next caller here. Appreciate you calling in, man.
All right, I appreciate you, man. Nice meeting you, Sam. Hey,
Nice
go
meeting
Blue.
you too.
I don't know who you root for.
He's
Oh,
Michigan.
I'm a Michigan fan. I just hide it very well.
Hey, you say you follow it very well?
Oh no, I hide it very well. I follow a lot of teams very well, but I also hide my fandom just so that people know I'm.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's the persona you got to do because you in that atmosphere. Yes, I get you. Hey, respect, man. Go Blue, TJ. I won that bet, but you ain't got to pay me because you was gonna honor it, and I respect that. That's a real.
Still down,
That's
though. I would. So for those who don't know, even though let me qualify, I did say give me till the spring game but me and Marmar did an early bet, 2 Coney dogs on who was going to start game 1, week 1. He had Bryce, I had Mikey Keene. So I'm down, bro. We can go out. I'll buy.
Appreciate it. Hey, nah.
Brewskis, bro.
Listen. Hey, we just shake hands, man, because that was some real stuff right there. That's respect. You don't owe me nothing. I don't owe, I appreciate it, man.
We'll go out to dinner.
We'll
make
it fun.
It happen. I got no problem.
I got you, brother.
I'll pay up.
Hey, man.
I'll pay up.
Hey, nah, you good, bro. I appreciate you, bro. I'm telling you, I'm good, man. I appreciate it. Yo, go Blue.
All right, I'll see you at the spring game, and I'm sure we'll talk before.
Yeah. Facts.
Peace. All right, Sam, I've been meaning to ask you this. What's your thoughts on Conor Stallions?
Oh, I think that I don't like him, number one.
Okay.
I think that number two, the NCAA did Michigan a rather kind thing by firing him in the middle, but by not firing him, but unveiling the whole thing in the middle of the year and then forcing Michigan to fire him and then suspending Harbaugh, because that actually gives a lot of credibility to how the season unfolded. I think, I just think it was bad. I think that Michigan did. I think that without Stallions, Michigan wins all the games they won with him. And I think that his existence just clouds that, and understandably so. So therefore, I don't like him.
Yeah, I think in the rivals' eyes it does. I think a lot of people understand the reality of it. I mean, so I have no issue with Conor Stallions. I'm sure you're aware of my position to some extent because I have fun with it. I play with it a lot. But I do think he did cross the line with, the whole having a task force scouting games. Like that was obviously, although what's the gray area in that? They were not on the coaching staff. So by the rules, they're not a part of the football team. So in theory, it's a gray area, which Michigan is fighting. But yeah, I mean, I think Conor Stallions is slightly misunderstood. I do think he's just very focused, committed, and driven individual who push the gray lines that every college football pushes. And I don't mean like sending people to games, although I do think some schools do that. But my point is, schools are pushing gray lines all the time. It's just this one is a unique one that schools wasn't very public before. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's a polarizing topic that I like getting people's opinions on because, you're either cool with him or you dislike him because he stained the reputation of the program.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think the Matt Weiss stuff is like way worse. Like that's program staining.
But but see, the thing about the Matt Weiss shit is it started in 2015. I mean, this is like before us. I mean, this is, like who knew he was some fucking super hacker who had this crazy weird kink, like,
yeah.
He was literally doing scouting reports on college athletes' sex positions, man. I mean, it's just wild. So, but what are you going to do? I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess my question is, how do you avoid that? Like, how do you not, I mean, how is Michigan to know you can't, like, there's only so much you could do in a vetting process and a hire. And not only that, he was in the NFL. And actually what's even crazier is he came as on the recommendation of his brother.
It's crazy.
I mean, it's just, in my opinion, there's just no way like Michigan could have prevented this situation. It is what it, sometimes you just have bad apples, man.
Yeah, I get that. I hope he has a, I hope that the rest of his life is served behind bars. That was when I read that, I'm like, holy cow. That's horrible.
Like the thing, like when I did the reaction video to that, what's crazy to me is, like a lot of these types of individuals, he got into college. Like he was already doing this, but he was in the pro ranks, right? And then he gets into college. Although I think he was at Stanford previously. But when he started doing this, which was 2015, I guess let's look up I should have looked this before. What was his career? I think he was with Baltimore in 2015. And he was. So he was in the NFL when he started this shit, which is nuts. And then he goes to college, which is like one of those weird, like, it's like what, people become teachers when they're into that type of shit. You know what I mean? So it's just weird, bro. Is what it is, but I agree. That's a bad look. All right, let's give a look at defending the natty 10-hour super chat. Let's go for 2 more hours, baby. We appreciate you. We are 85 away with only 13 minutes left, guys. Let's figure it out. Plus, Keith Rebar, I don't know if you're available. Your cameras or I don't know if you're available for a phone call. Let me know in the private chat if you're available. We do have our boy Redmond. He'll be up next. We'll pull him up here. And then our boy G Boulder, it looks like you're having connection issues. Try to connect back in. We'll get to you. But let's get our guy Redmond up here. How we doing, man? You there? No? All right, we're going to pull you down. Let me know when you're there, brother. Let me know when you're there. All right, so right now it appears. All right, he's back. What's up, buddy? You there?
Yes. Oh, hey.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, Sam? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too. How are you doing? I see that you said you have a question for me.
Yeah, because you was the first the Michigan channel I ever watched back in 2022.
Oh wow. Well, that's cool. Kind of like a full circle thing. That was only my second year, or like the conclusion of my first full year of doing this. What brought you onto my channel?
It was after that Penn State game.
Well, that was one of my favorites. 41-17 with over 400 rushing yards.
Yeah.
Sam, are you familiar with Timothy Redmond? Are you familiar with him?
No.
Okay,
actually,
so
I'm not. This is my first time meeting him.
He is what we would classify a ball knower. He actually just started a podcast. How's the podcast going, Timothy?
It's going good.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
What's the name of it?
Okay. Who do you think would have a harder schedule after bringing home a Rose Bowl and a national title? Michigan last year, or Ohio State, because Ohio State, they are returning less production on defense compared to the Michigan 24 defense. And I'm hearing some rumors that they may go 9-3 or 10-2. The what the what or what the one I hearing that Texas in Michigan in Penn State they will lose to one of those teams or maybe all three, but
So you're asking who has the tougher schedule, the year after Michigan won its national title or this coming season for Ohio State?
yeah, that's what Sam.
Oh,
Sam,
okay. That's a really good question. Thank you for putting that in, because I think they're pretty similar. I think that you have, the best team in the country. Michigan had that last year with Ohio State on their schedule. I think Ohio State has that on their schedule this year with Penn State. I think Penn State's your number one. And I'm kind of approaching the point in my research where I think anyone else who thinks otherwise is they either think it's because of James Franklin, which is a valid reason why they're not number one, or they're kidding themselves because that roster's really good. And then, like you said, with, Texas and Oregon on Michigan's schedule last year, those are top 5 teams, top 10, maybe Oregon, not quite top 5, but, definitely punched above their weight class. I think Ohio State has that this year.
They opening home game is against Texas.
Just like how we did, kind of, except ours was a week later, but still, it's cool.
Yeah, but
I think I'm going to go with last year's Michigan schedule because Indiana was also top 10, and I don't think Ohio State has that 4th top 10 team up there. I'm not very high on Illinois personally, and I think Wisconsin's going to be good, but I don't think Wisconsin's going to be a team that blows out everyone who isn't much more talented than they are, which is what Indiana did. So I'd say 2024 Michigan had the tougher schedule.
About Bryce on the Underwood. Do y'all know J.D. Bakel on 3? He had a whole interview with Conor Stallions. Conor Stallions said when he was working at Bellevue for Bryson Underwood, the playoff game, he said in the interview that he was doing some special practices with Bryce Underwood when he was teaching Bryce Underwood early access of a few passing plays and running plays for Michigan. Like he had some he not like he still had some leftover the Michigan to play, but a small amount of Michigan plays. So he was teaching it the Bryce the Underwood in practices, but during the playoff games he wasn't really using it. So he was giving Bryce Underwood a head start. Because he knew that Bryce Underwood was going to flip schools and stay at home, and maybe that's why the defense is saying that oh shoot, he hard the tackle. We got some extra work to put in.
Yeah, so Conor Stallions essentially said he was putting in the same cadences that Michigan was using and some of the play sets that they were using. So he is ahead of schedule in that regard. And then Conor Stallions
and some people think that he outperforming freshman JJ McCarthy already.
Oh, that wouldn't shock me at all.
Yeah, I'm actually not surprised. I don't, Sam. So this is what's interesting too about that is. Some people, so we talked last Tuesday, John and I, because people are like, Bryce Underwood's actually a better is a better quarterback than JJ. A lot of people are like, well, I don't know about that. But like, here's the reality of it. All right, JJ, his senior year, obviously would be the quarterback. Like, say if JJ's senior year was here along with freshman Bryce, JJ's senior year would play. Okay, he would. Bryce would get sprinkled in, much like JJ was sprinkled in as a freshman. But, you know, yeah, because he's poised, experienced, and understands the college game. But if you're starting JJ as a freshman, you're starting Bryce Underwood as a freshman, Bryce is the better quarterback with the higher ceiling, which is saying a lot because JJ was a top 10 pick, which is very good. You know, like that's a hell of an achievement, you know? So, yeah, it's a wonderful position that we're in to have two very good quarterbacks in short time.
Also hearing that the Andrew Marsh, he catching up to Frederick Moore in that battle. He catching up.
Yeah, you know, I'm a big believer in Andrew Marsh. He has a lot of work to do to catch Fred Moore, but of course he's a freshman, so they're going to make him earn it. We'll see. My projection is Andrew Marsh does take that Z position as the season progresses. But all right, Timothy, we're going to get to our next caller here, man. Appreciate you. I'm sure we're here for next Thursday.
That Smart Urge is ready to handle that number 2 jersey. Because when they gave it to Will Johnson when he was a freshman. Now some people thought that there's no way that he could be another Charles Woodson, and 3 years later, from those records that Charles Woodson had broke, Will Johnson had just broke those. So
yeah,
so I'm excited to say that he could be the next Will Johnson. No, that's a lot. And guess what? We stole him from the Georgia Bulldogs.
That's right, Timothy. All right, me and Sam will answer your question, Timothy, but we're gonna get on to our next caller here, brother. All right, we'll answer your question, but I appreciate you, Timothy. I'll see you next week. All right, man.
If you ever doing another guest, I might be free.
Oh, all right, Timothy. Well, the invite is noted, or the application is noted. I appreciate you, Timothy. We will be talking. All right, my man. So have a good day.
Okay.
We'll see you next week, my friend. Go Blue, Timothy.
Go Blue.
My man, Timothy. All right, so let's hit on Shamari Rose before we get our next caller, which will be Keith. Then we got G Boulder, and we will be wrapping up the show, guys. We are 85 away from a second hour. We will take our last 2 callers as we always do. We respect and honor our callers. Appreciate you guys calling in. So the number 2 for Shamari Rose, obviously it's a big deal. They don't just hand that number out to anybody. Listen, by all accounts, he's next, but is he going to be on a Charles Woodson level? I mean, guys, no one was better than Woodson. He won a Heisman, but Michigan, from my understanding, Michigan feels he's on not quite Will Johnson's level, but not far from it. What's your thoughts on the whole number 2 and Shamari Rose?
I think that, look, if Georgia wanted him and he's 6'2" and he's 200 pounds and he was awesome in high school, I mean, look, jerseys are meant to be retired and they're meant to hold a sacred place, but at the same time, they're also meant to be given out to young players who you believe in and who are proving themselves. So if he's doing that, then why not let him take a crack at it? Honestly, like, he's a high-level recruit. I think he's going to be good in the future. We'll see how long it takes him to get action on the field.
Yeah. Hopefully he acclimates himself and can get some run as the season progresses. I do think towards the end of the year, like Will Johnson, we will see him get some action, like middle to end of the year. But I do want to call out one of our very loyal, good friends who are Buckeyes. That is Doreen, aka Asian Posh. She called into the Garrison show, which is, in my opinion, a slap in the face because we've been trying to get her to call into our show for months because she's always doing stuff with Zach Smith and Menace to Sports. So, like, I know she's not camera shy. I know, she's willing to participate in the shows, but we cannot seem to get her. Now, we are working on an NIL package and getting her to flip her fandom to Michigan because she is coming to visit, guys. April 19th. You will see her around us, I'm sure. So we're looking forward to that. But what the hell, Doreen? You called Garrison's show and you said you may call next week. That's cool. We'll see if you do. But I am hurt, and I will let Garrison know that he won the battle, but he did not win the war because we're coming for the fandom flip. All right. So, yeah. All right. So let's get to our next caller here. We got Keith Rebar in the house. What's up, Keith? How we doing, man?
Hey, doing good. How you guys doing?
Great, man.
Doing fine.
Great.
Okay. I'm going to be the only caller to answer your question that everybody has to answer. I'd walk across the street for cookies, but I'd drive 20 miles for brownies.
Okay.
Oh, all right. Damn it, Keith. I'm supposed to be asking everybody the cookie brownie question. All right, it's 2-2. It's 2-2 right now. We got 2 for cookies. West Quad's trying to pull that 50-50 shit. We're not doing that. He's cookies. And now we got 2 for the brownies. All right. So we're currently tied. G Boulder's gonna see where he's gonna break the tie. So he'll let us know what he thinks when we get to his phone call. But yeah, I hear you, Keith. Brownies all the way.
All right. Now, Sam, I got a bone to pick with you. I know you're not CBS, but I believe your parent company is CBS. And CBS has Michigan going 8-4, losing to Oklahoma, Nebraska, and I forget who else, and Ohio State at home. 3 road games and 1 home game. What's going on with your department there at CBS, Sam?
Well, I'm honored that you think that I actually work with CBS, but I am not at all connected or sponsored by anyone. Like, this is a one-man op. Well, no, it's a 2-man. It's a 2.5, 3-man operation that we run at college football with Sam. I run most of it, but I have some people that help. I think what Tom Fornelli was doing in that projection is he was just going chalk, and I get that. But the problem is it's never chalk. If all you're going to do is pick chalk, well, then you're just, I don't know, you're kind of going with the flow in the most vanilla way possible. And I think that, I don't know, it's just, I think at this point, if you're a Michigan fan, you should expect the networks to always pick you to lose to Ohio State unless you're obviously more talented than them.
Jesus.
I mean, look at 2023 when like the vast majority of the money was on Ohio State to cover, and Vegas never moved the line because if you looked into it, all the power ratings and all the analytics said Michigan that shouldn't have just won, but they probably should have won that game by double digits. And the fact that Ohio State kept it within 10 was impressive. But even then, Michigan was only favored by like 3.5, 2.5, 4.5. It is understandable why someone would be upset with that, but the reality is because Ohio State's been so consistent and because they recruited a higher level and they just won the Natty, people are going to be as high on them as reasonably possible. Also, if you're just going to pick based off of win totals and only a half game above or below the win total, that means you're picking, Michigan to go 8-4 or 9-3. Or you're picking Ohio State to go 11-1, 10-2. So I don't know what they're doing, but I'm glad I don't because I disagree with them on a lot of things within the Big Ten.
Well, I think it's Michigan bias. I think they just don't like Michigan. We beat Ohio State 5 months ago, and we have gotten better since beating them. And they have regressed since we beat them. Still now, they've got all kinds of 5 stars and 4 stars that are going to reload in those positions. And we can't say that they're going to have a 7-5 year or anything crazy like that. But on paper, it looks like we're actually more talented than them this year. Agreed?
I would disagree with that. However, what I will say is every single year except for 2023, Ohio State's been better than Michigan in recent memory in power ratings. So if you factor in home field advantage and if you factor in the fact that Michigan is like better in the trenches and probably by a wider margin over Ohio State in the trenches than they were in 23 or 24, then yeah, I think that Michigan is, I wouldn't go as far to say they're more talented this year, but I will say on defense, they're on an average basis deeper. I think on the O-line, it's no duh, they're deeper because Fry refused to build that line to anything resembling what should be an Ohio State offensive line. And then you have the game, being played in Ann Arbor, and I think Michigan's covered a lot of ground. Like if you were to take the power ratings of the two teams last year, I think Michigan has improved by a lot of points, maybe by a touchdown or more. And I think Ohio State, just because they lost a bunch of studs and replaced a stud DC, I think they're losing points too. And then you have the home field advantage swing.
Yeah, and what point did I want to make here was on power rankings. You know that in 22 and 23, Michigan at the end of the season, because power rankings get updated as the season progresses, Michigan ended up as in the power rankings above Ohio State. So Ohio State always starts higher than us in power rankings because the recruiting record is so deep. It's hard not to put them before us. But once we get on the field and we start playing, our players gain points and their players lose points.
You're talking about S&P Plus, aren't you?
Might be. I don't keep track of all those. I think I'm thinking of PFF ratings.
Okay. Yeah. That's PFF. I think is overhated when it comes to their player evaluations, just because they're objective and the fan bases want their teams to, have the higher rated players, even if that's not the case. But yeah, I think you make a good general point there. Because, I'll take one position, for example. I think the easiest one's D-line development, like comparing Michigan's D-line development to Ohio State's. Like Michigan's just developed there now for basically better part of a half decade than Ohio State has. They just have. And that's been the case in terms of collegiate play, certainly the offensive line. NFL and collegiate play, certainly tight end. It's been the case for much of the defense. And I think that it's like I said, you should expect the networks to pick Ohio State all the time. But I think whether you're a Michigan fan or whether you're not, at this point, when does it become that Ohio State has to prove that they will beat Michigan? Because that is probably coming soon unless Ohio State starts to win again. Because last year, I'm a Michigan fan. I enjoyed that win. But from the objective analyst perspective, that was one of the worst games I've ever watched. It was horrible. And it was because Ohio State couldn't get Michigan out of their head. They couldn't do it. And you saw that in how Michigan had 21 pressures and Ohio State's defense, which was awesome all year, especially in the later half of the season, only had 2 pressures.
Mm-hmm.
Like Michigan still has some inherent advantages. And now Ohio State has to come to Ann Arbor, where just a few years ago, Michigan couldn't beat Ohio State in Ann Arbor. And now no Ohio State player knows a win over Michigan, let alone a win over Michigan in the Big House. Like that's how quickly this changes. So
Sam, let me get your thoughts on that. We're about to get you out of here. What do you think about that game? What are you leaning? Like, do you think Michigan's going to get that game in November, or what's your thoughts on that right now?
I think so. Yeah,
I think so too. Yep.
I believe that Michigan's special teams is better. I think that Michigan's defense is going to converge with Ohio State's. And I think that, I think Ohio State's done a lot of good things with prioritizing the offensive line, but I will tell you, you don't fix those things in 1 year. It's what Day does is something bad happens, and then he dramatically pours resources into it. It's what he did with the defense. It's what he's doing with the offensive line. That's why he hired basically 3 offensive line coaches to coach, because he's like, oh crap, yeah, this unit's bad by our standards. We need to fix it now. And I think that in a game like that, where Michigan has the trench advantage and Michigan's going to converge with them at quarterback too, because they have a talented QB. Ohio State does too. And while Ryan Day seems relaxed right now, I don't know. Like, is that just a mirage, or is it a real thing until, as I said on the Buckeye Boys podcast yesterday, until maybe Bryce Underwood pulls a read option and goes 50 yards and the crowd erupts, and then the entire Ohio State sideline begins to feel like, oh no, like all this again, in the back of their mind thinks, yeah, we can't win. And it just, like, we'll have to see, but I think a lot of reasons point to a Michigan win again for the 5th year in a row.
Yeah, I
agree.
I think so. And one thing that I mentioned, and Keith, appreciate your phone call, but we're gonna get to our next caller here. Go Blue, Keith.
Go Blue.
Okay, I gotta tell you one real funny thing though. You gotta hear this. And there was a cute little kid on a YouTube short that said was doing the IO, and his dad was going OH, and the kid was going IO and dancing and jumping, having a good time. Well, the first commenter put on that video said that kid's gonna grow up to be a big Buckeye fan, but he'll always know that Michigan is his daddy. And boy, where'd Ohio State. What's that?
Where'd you see that at?
It was on the YouTube short. I don't think I could find it again.
Okay.
It was hilarious though. Yeah. So, go Blue, guys.
Hey, go Blue, Keith. Go Blue, Keith. We'll see you next week. All right, buddy. Let's get to our super chats here, because there is one specifically directed towards you. But someone let Queen Jolene know Doreen is in the transfer portal. Phone calls have been made, GT. We are already on it. We are looking for the fandom flip, and I think we're in a good position for it. We got Blue Wolverine here, 1310 super chat. Not a coincidence. Looks like a score that I'm familiar with. Sam, if I hear you give another IO to a Buckeye OH again, Conor Stallions and myself will come take your Wolverine card. Hell yeah. And then Blue Wolverine again, Santa Claus, aka Blue Wolverine, giving out the gifts. And guess what? Johnny Olden has a membership. Let's give a shout out here to all the members. We got Jason Eyestone, The One, got a membership, Tim O'Hara, JC Castro, I believe it's LB, James M, Nate Jordan, another Jordan, Stallions Express. That might even be Conor Stallions himself. But there you go, boys. Welcome to the community. Enjoy the emojis. Throw some cheeseburgers at some Buckeyes, because they are lurking. And yeah, appreciate it. We are actually 17 away from a second hour. We will take another. I will be taking G Boulder up next, but Sam does have to go because he's a busy man. So Sam,
I can stay for the last call. Then I
stay for the last call.
Yeah.
All right, then we'll do that. Yeah, we'll do that. So so just a quick thing for everybody. We are 17 away from a second hour. We do have another call here, so we will take this call. If we can get 17, I will go a second hour, but we will definitely take this final call with Sam here. G Boulder, what's up, man?
What's going on? So I appreciate you, Sam, for sticking around. So to settle the debate, I'm the fifth person. I'm
Let's
going
go.
brownie. I'm gonna warm that brownie up, put some ice cream on that thing, and we're gonna run away with it.
Hey, brownies are good.
He knows. All right, brownie. It's it. We know. I'm on the right side of history again. I love to see it. G Boulder.
Hey, so you guys touched on a lot of good things, man. Some of the things I want to talk about, but I'm gonna delve into something else. So we're gonna keep talking about the same thing. Recruiting. We just offered a bunch of 2027 quarterbacks. I'm seeing some good stuff about some running back that just left campus, a California running back that just left campus that is actually committing Friday or Saturday or something. Are you hearing anything about that? Because they saying he had I saw his little interview. He said he loved Michigan. He had on a little Michigan beanie and a bunch of stuff.
I believe it's between us and USC, right?
So yeah, he's yeah.
So I don't know which way he'll go, but I do know there are people who are paying attention to that who feel it's going to be USC. So we'll see on that. You know, I do think Michigan right now is putting a lot of chips in the basket for Savion Hyder. And actually, so I guess I was going to share this on Tuesday, but Savion Hyder's agent is going to be visiting Michigan this weekend to meet with Sean McGee. Not Savion Hyder, but his agent is coming to Ann Arbor to meet with Sean McGee. So that's not nothing. It's definitely something. So, and why that matters is because if anyone's been paying attention to the Javion Osborne recruitment, Notre Dame is making a major financial aggressive push with NIL for Javion Osborne, and Michigan does not appear to be as aggressive in that area right now. We'll see. I mean, I think, you know, it's to be determined. I do think I was of the belief he wasn't going to make his official visit to Michigan, Javion Osborne, but I do think he will now. So to be determined on that. But I do believe Michigan's all in on Savion Hyder. So we'll see where that one takes us. And there are people who believe that Savion Hyder is one of the best running backs to come out of high school in a few years.
I know Ohio
State. Yeah, Ohio State wants him. Georgia wants him. I mean, if those schools want you, especially Georgia, you know, he's probably the real deal.
So yeah, so that's why I actually brought that running back up, because I want to see how you was feeling on that Hyder and Osborne issue. You know, are we starting to look at some other options, thinking that we missing them? Because we should be taking 2 running backs. You think?
We typically do take 2 running backs in class. I expect we will, but I just don't think we're going to get 2 alphas. It just seems so hard to do. And then not only that, because I know Sean McGee has a very NFL-like salary cap that he implements on the team, where in terms of there's a range that he's willing to pay for positions, and I just don't think it's in our budget to overspend for 2 running backs. I think they're willing to go heavy for 1 running back, and then I think they're trying to get a developmental, like we saw with David Johnson last year. We'll see.
I think that's smart.
In today's, I think to build a sustainable program that wins consistently, I think you have to do it like that.
You know who
you can't load up anymore.
You know who Mike Valeni is? I assume you do.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
You ever heard his famous saying, "We do not pay running backs"?
Yes.
That is something I'm like, unless you're Ohio State and you have Henderson on your roster and he's okay with bringing Judkins in, you do not pay for running backs. You just don't do it. Like, pay for the offensive linemen blocking for the running backs, which I think Michigan has shown that they've done with their tackle additions.
Okay. So I agree with that. Well, all right. So I agree with that to an extent. So the reason why you don't want to pay running backs in the NFL is because their lifespan is going to be so short, right? But in terms of college, running backs have more value. And but to your point, I think you pay for the guy that you think is going to be your alpha. You make that play. But there's no reason to load up the room with expensive running backs, especially when these kids can leave after 1 year. So they take your money and then they go. And it's not like this money's returned like the NFL salary cap where they get TV contracts. So that this money's coming from donors. And yes, there's going to be a certain amount of money coming from schools once this bill is passed in April, but only up to 20 million, and not even 20 million. Michigan's got about 15 million in revenue share. So you can only, that money only goes so far because you have 4 years of players that you're gonna have to spread that money around. So although they do get 15, although it is 15 million per year, so that's not true. But even so, I think you got to be mindful with it. I have heard on my end that Michigan has been promised a lot of money So they're in a good place, but I do think they want to be responsible with it.
That's smart. That's smart. So now I was reading something about a new transfer portal wide receiver that just hit the market. You know anything about the dude from Stanford that just hit the market?
Yeah, so the only thing I know is that he hit the market. I am aware of him. Let me see if I get his name. I was just tagged in that. Yeah, you're talking about Emmett Mosley.
Yeah.
Oh, here, we'll share that right here. Yeah, he is pretty productive. And obviously, if he went to Stanford, he's a high academic kid, right? I mean, that'd be the thinking here. So here's what I do know. Because what I do know, and I'm confident, because of how well Bryce has played, there is an emphasis to get him more weapons at the wide receiver position. But again, and I want to stress this, we heard something similar last portal, and it just, yes, we got Donovan McCulley. And we did get, I think we got Anthony Simpson as well. But those were not the game. Although I'm actually high on Donovan McCulley. But are they difference makers, right? Are they difference? Like Michigan needs to land a difference maker at wide receiver, in my opinion. Now, who is that going to be? We'll see if they can do that, you know. But in my opinion, Sam, let's say they do land a very good wide receiver. It doesn't have to be elite, but very good. That, in my opinion, raises the ceiling of this team because that's the weakest. Like I think you said, right? Wide receiver is the room that that's the biggest question mark, and then the cohesiveness of the offensive line would probably be the second biggest question mark.
Yeah, I think that would be just fantastic. The problem is Penn State is someone who I think is looking for the difference maker at wide receiver too. And you probably have several other programs who want that guy. So that will drive up the price because there's more demand. And Michigan has that budget that you talked about. But that would be something where, look, if he's playing at like a top 5 level, like right now, which would be insane, but he's one of the guys who could do it. Yeah, you should get a top tier wide receiver because I will say I think this year's a window of opportunity for Michigan because I don't think you're going to get a schedule like this one every year where you get Ohio State at home and then that's like your only top 5 power rated team you have. Most other years, you'll get Ohio State maybe at home or maybe on the road, but then maybe you got to play Penn State in Happy Valley, or you got to play Oregon and Autzen, or they come to you, or maybe one year you get like a Georgia schedule or another schedule like Michigan's last year. And it's just really, really hard. And we saw with Georgia, and we almost saw it with Ohio State last year too, those schedules will beat you down. They will take your players and they will hurt you and potentially ruin your season. So there's a lot of calculus that involves this, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you're right. There's not with the schedule. So in my opinion, it's playoffs or bust.
Agreed.
Now we do have an argument though that let's say we go 9-3 and you beat Ohio State and you beat Michigan State. Is that a failure of a year? And you don't make the
playoffs. Depends on actually no, I'll let G answer that first, then I'll answer.
So give us your thoughts on that.
So for me, I think so. I think that we saw that we beat Ohio and they got in with 2 wins. I think that with the schedule that we have, we should be able to not have 3 losses. I think if we lose 3 games, then we underachieve because I think our biggest question mark is just how good is the quarterback going to be. All the other places, the cohesiveness we looking at, but we loaded with people that got experience that played. Even our young guys got experience. So we're not throwing a bunch of new people in there and just, other than the quarterback. And, you surround him good enough and get that offensive line to jail. And, this is not a regular young team. This is a young team with experience, and we're a whole lot deeper this year. I was hearing about you guys were saying who going to play where and who going to start. I've been hearing Metcalf at the nickel with Rob Moore and Hillman at the safety Zeke and Sugar Hill on the outside. So that was the last part I read. But we so deep that, it's going to be back to when Harbaugh was here. We could rotate them in. Ain't nobody going to be getting cooked all game, and we got to just lean on them. We got people that can play.
Yeah, we do got some dudes that play. But RG Bowler, appreciate you, man. We're gonna get to our next caller here, but we also got to get Sam. We got to send Sam off. So appreciate you, and hope to hear from you again, man.
All right.
Yeah,
Go blue, brother. Go blue.
To answer that before I get off,
Yeah.
it would be a failure because you'd lose to, you beat Ohio State, you beat Michigan State, but what, USC, Nebraska,
maybe Oklahoma.
It's just there's a high probability that one of those teams is like just straight up incompetent, and to lose to one of those with
USC.
that roster, like USC or Nebraska. I don't think Rule is I like Rule and I like Nebraska, but I don't think he's the best game manager. And then, what does that tell you about 2026, where you have Penn State, Oregon, and Ohio State on your schedule? Like, oh no, I got to play Jim Knowles, Andy Kotelnicki, and James Franklin, and then I got to face Dan Lanning and Ryan Day. Like, that's just it. I agree with you. It's playoffs or bust. And I see that Juju wants to ask me something. I have to get off, Juju, but what I will say, actually, I'll just type it in here because it's harmless. I can do that, right? I can answer in the private chat.
Of course you can, man.
Okay, cool. Send me your question to this email, and I will answer it when I have the time.
And also, our boy Redmond does have a question, or did want to say, what if there was a maze out for the Ohio State game? That would be epic. The only issue is those are typically noon games, and you could still pull it off, but it wouldn't be as dynamic as it would as a night game. But all right, Sam, let the people know where they can find you, man, and hope to have you on again, bro.
I'd love to come back on. Yeah, feel free to invite me back on. He has it pulled up right there. It's College Football with Sam. You can search that up on YouTube. It's the first thing that pops up. We haven't been releasing a lot of videos lately just because we're undergoing some maintenance, and I'm a full-time student actually at the University of Michigan. So life's busy, but we should get things up and going here within the next few weeks, with kind of a little bit of a new, more permanent look to the channel and lots of content. So you won't want to miss that. Just go subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you there, and possibly other podcasts, because recently I've been getting invites like this one. Thank you, TJ, for inviting me on. This was a pleasure. And Absolutely. I've been on with a lot of Buckeye podcasts too. And hopefully next step I'm hoping is to get, like, whether it's Oregon or Penn State, like kind of expand the big fan bases. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, definitely, man. Well, appreciate you having you on, man. We will definitely have you on again. Enjoy the studies at Michigan, and we'll talk soon, Sam.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic day. Go Blue.
Go Blue. All right, guys. We just had College Football with Sam joining us, and I want to give a shout out to the community, because you guys came through, just flat out came through. And I'm going to give a shout out to absolutely everybody, but we'll go through our super chats first. We got the Bull will win. And I know, B-Dub, you saw earlier that we had I was like, we're always coming or whatever. Me and B-Dub have this, like, I know, pause, by the way, but we have this thing where we're always like kind of joking about it. And B-Dub says we're always coming, never not coming hard. My guy, B-Dub, appreciate you, bro. We will see you at the spring game. I'm looking forward to that. Keith Rebar, well, hold up. Detective Loki. Appreciate the 8-month membership, man. Tuck is coming. Bruce, where'd you go, man? You were next. Call back in, Bruce. Call back in, because you were the next caller, my friend. Okay, you are the next. You called earlier. I will get you back. Yeah, Bruce, hang on the line, brother. You are the very next caller. And then we got Keith Rebar, $20 hitter. Appreciate you, Keith. 1-0, 12 games straight. That is 12-0 by my math, especially if you carry the one. And then we got GT in the house. Buckeyes have always been a 90-minute team. Wow, we go 3 hours. $5 super chat. We appreciate you, GT. I do want to give a shout out to absolutely everybody. GT, Defending the Natty, Blue Wolverine, of course. B-Dub, Detective Loki, Keith Rebar, and GT. You guys made this happen. We now have a second hour. So shout out to you guys. I do appreciate it. All right. We will bring our next caller in the damn house. And that is Bruce, who's been waiting patiently. Bruce, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think right before I had left, I guess as far as like Bryce Underwood, I'd say like starting, like you, I originally thought it'd be Michael Keane, but he got injured. But I also think that what I would look for is for Bryce Underwood to peak probably mid-season, because I think a lot of people are wondering whether Jaden Davis would transfer. I want to say like after the spring game. That's until we found out that Michael Keane had gotten hurt. But I've learned that if Bryce is starting, I've kind of dialed back my expectations as far as like a prediction of what the record is going to be. I think if I had to guess, it'll most likely be maybe 9-3. Possibly like 10-2, but the expectations are dialed back because there's going to be like a lot of growing pains, so I keep my expectations, I say, fairly reasonable, and all the other variables in place, like, is the offensive line going to gel? How long is that going to take? And if he has the intangibles that we know he has, then there's going to be a lot of improvisation, him going like through all his reads, if the play breaks down, him using his legs, to gain more yards. I mean, things like that. And then it depends on, the team that he plays. But I see him hitting, you'd most likely want his peak, say like mid-season. I mean, if that's the case, then I can see Jaden Davis transferring out. I think the only way Jaden Davis gets like starting time is if he absolutely like balls out. But then, it's the NIL package you have for Bryce Underwood wouldn't make any sense. I think if they structure that package, it's like if we're paying you X million like every year, he decides to go to the NFL as a junior. I mean, is that the cutoff point? Because like, why would you pay him I guess the remaining of his NIL, if he's not there? So it could be far less than what everybody's assuming.
Yeah, I mean, if he does go to the NFL after year 3, which is probably likely, then the rest of his NIL would be void. But to your point though, if we're going to talk about like, let's say he's starting game 1 all the way through the year and it's a 9-3 season, this is kind of my point. I'm trying to kind of brace our fan base a little bit, is like, if we go 9-3 and if we do beat the rivals and Bryce shows a lot of flash and promise, like, I think we need to look at this like a team building for a championship, because next year Bryce is only going to be better and this team should only be stronger. And Michigan will be aware,
because next year that you're looking at a championship team.
That's what I mean. They know they have a window. Like it's like sports, right? When the owner and the GM can taste they're on the edge of a championship, they start going all in. And they start trading draft picks. They start spending money on. I anticipate Michigan would have a similar approach in terms of building they're not going to waste Underwood, guys. Like, they're too invested. The donors are willing to spend to win. But it's also about being responsible and not spending just to spend, because then you can end up like Texas A&M. So you have to be responsible and you have to structure it the right way. And I do think Michigan's doing that. Sometimes I wonder if they're a bit conservative in certain areas, but at the same time, I am pleased with the current approach that they're on right now.
Yeah, I think. I'm old school. It's like if you haven't shown me anything on the field, why would I pay you? And because like I think what's been argued before when you talk about when Harbaugh built a culture, if you're bringing guys in who's making X amount of millions of dollars, does that fragment the culture? But you can also build, you're because it's so ubiquitous, like throughout college football now, and again, the SEC, I mean, this is what you wanted. Michigan has a lot of money, and so like when they paid Bryce Underwood that amount of money, that served kind of like as a catalyst for every number one player, like what's the guy, Cantwell, that's going to take a look, like at Michigan. The only other position group that I think wouldn't take a look at Michigan would be someone like Chris Henry, which is a wide receiver. Any wide receivers, high touted wide receivers, are less likely to look at our program because we have more of a, balanced offense.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's something that Michigan's looking to change, is that wide receiver position, in terms of the way the recruits are currently looking at Michigan. But yeah, I mean, I think Michigan's in a good spot in a lot of areas. And I do think that will change in terms of, I think receivers will once, and we already know what's happening. Like there are receivers who are seeing Bryce in practice, Travis Johnson being one of those guys who I'm very high on. I think Michigan's going to start changing the narrative on that.
Yeah, I mean, but as long as they beat Ohio State, I'm fine. Whatever that record is, because I'm reasonable enough to know that. I have two kids that play D1. Well, not D1, but they're pushing for D1 basketball and football. So I know like his confidence, can be shaken. Given the expectations, the unreasonable expectations of like the fan base. So I mean, as long as they beat Ohio.
Oh, we lost you, Bruce. You there, man? All right, buddy. We lost you. But to Bruce's point, we'll see if he can hop back on here. I am not of the. All right, so here's my position on that. And I know Buckeyes once thought this way. I am not of the position if we go 5-7, then as long as we beat Ohio State, it's okay. Like I am. Listen, it is always beat Ohio State, but I need the team to play well. I can't have a bad year. I will say this past year going 8-5. You there, Bruce?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, we lost you for a bit there, but I will say this past year going 8-5, considering the turnaround, considering what Sharon Moore did, and beating not only Ohio State but Alabama, I was satisfied with last year. But I know next year has to be more. I will say that, and what I was saying, Bruce, I don't know if you could hear me, is if we went 5-7 and beat Ohio State, that's not good enough for me. You
said beating Ohio State isn't good enough for you?
Well, if we went 5-7, but Ohio State was one of those 5, would that be good enough?
I mean, looking at, like you said, in 2026, that's a more difficult schedule. But like I said, by that time, Bryce Underwood most likely would have peaked. He'd be kind of like entrenched, like in the system. And then if we expect Lindsey to be there for at least a couple of years, I mean, that's a good thing. If a new OC comes in and Bryce is looking at going to the NFL based on, say, like his numbers, if he breaks Navari's passing record, if he's, a front runner for like the Heisman, I can see him on the way out when a new OC comes in. But by that time, if Ryder Lyons is coming in the 27 class, I mean, they have to pull somebody from the portal.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If Ryder Lyons came in 27, it would be a natural transition because Ryder Lyons would sit 1 year, and then Ryder Lyons would be the starting quarterback his redshirt freshman year, unless they burned it, which they actually probably would. So he'd probably be a sophomore. But all right, Bruce, I have to get to our next caller here, man. But I appreciate you calling in. Don't be a stranger. All right.
Yeah, thanks so much. Good talking to you. You have a good one.
Yeah, yes, sir. Go Blue, man. All right, so we have Ramez with the $2 super sticker here. We appreciate you, Ramez. You know this. And I do have an announcement. Guys, Doreen has called in. We will get to Doreen. We do have a few callers ahead of Doreen, but we will definitely have a chat with our good friend Doreen. Juju, what up, brother? You there, man?
Yo, what's good, TJ?
What up, man?
Hey, man. Look, I got here a little late. I will admit I was on Garrison's show. That boy made me wait.
Shit, Juju.
He made me wait, man.
No, it's my fault. I got Garrison doing that show. That's my fault. I should have told him Wednesday.
Yeah, man, that man had made me wait. But hey, I told him I showed up for both shows. So
yeah, no, it's all over. I'm messing with you.
I guess I want to talk about Sharon more because right. I feel like this isn't being talked about enough. Is the year two head coach and the expectations. but more importantly, the in-game decision making. We all know that he had a couple head scratchers. I'm of the belief that with him having basically a head coach on offense and defense, he doesn't have to. Juan Castillo being there in the offensive line room,
right,
and Eric Campbell now being in the wide receiver, he doesn't have to look over his shoulder, and I think he will be able to fully focus on being in the head coach. Obviously, he's gonna have his hand in the O line. I mean, I don't expect him not to, but I guess what do you want to see more of? Because I know the timeout management is huge for me.
Yeah. I mean, so Sam, who we just had on, he brought up a good point, and it's something we really have not talked about enough. And I'm actually glad you're bringing it up, Juju. Sharon was a first-time head coach. You know, it's a different animal, especially when the pressure's on and you got a million things going through your head. You have to think about the small things, because the small things are the degrees of difference that separate winning and losing. And he did have some poor timeout management. He did have some poor in-game adjustments, and he was in terms of rotation of players. There was a lot of questionable things there. So the thought is, well, maybe Kirk Campbell was the reason for some of that. And then so Sharon's he had to overcompensate his role as the leader and do more than he should be. Now he has put in a competent. So the theory is, Juju, to your point, now there's a competent staff who can handle their responsibilities, allowing Sharon more to focus on the game. And that is something that's a big thing that we have to watch is, does Sharon Moore take the next step as a decision maker in game? And let's hope he does, because I do think he's dedicated and focused. And I think he's capable, but it is something that needs to improve.
I mean, shit, oh my God. I forgot about Biff. Completely forgot about him being basically the co-head coach. Right under Jim Harbaugh, he did it, and now Sharon is going to have it. So that's even bigger. It's even bigger now. It's for him to be able to take that step. And my second question to you is, I don't think a lot of people have talked about this. Is who are you excited for most, coaching staff wise, coming into this season?
Now, does it have to be like a head position coach?
No,
or...
it could be any position. It could be any staffer.
Bro,
who'd you say?
It's Soup, because I think dude, he had 6 straight 1,000-yard wide receivers and 3 All-Americans under his coaching in the late 90s to early 2000s. I don't think Ron Bellamy is a great fundamental developmental coach. I do think he's a solid recruiter. And I know people are like, well, our recruiting's not great. It's hard to recruit here sometimes when you don't have NIL previously. We do now, and you are a school that has a narrative of we don't throw the ball. It makes it tough. But I do think Bellamy is a solid recruiter. It's Sue Campbell for me. I think that's the big. I mean, actually, you know what? Damn, I got changed. It's Chip Lindsey, bro.
Yeah, that's who I was gonna say.
It is Chip Lindsey. It's Chip Lindsey. If Chip Lindsey can do it, we think he can.
Yeah,
we're gonna be a national title contender. If not next year, the year after. You know what I mean? Like, it's coming. So, it's Chip Lindsey.
Now I'll flip that. Who do you think has the most approved?
Grant Newsome. Well, shit, Ron Bellamy. It's either Ron Bellamy or Grant Newsome. Who do you think has the most?
Mine, Coach BJ.
More than Bellamy or Grant Newsome? Because Barham and Housen played so well at the end of the year, though.
Yeah, they did. I'm not taking that. I felt that was a schematic thing, and not Coach BJ, because And he underwhelmed me in recruiting too. If we didn't let him Boateng outside of that, what were we talking about then?
And right now, who's the linebacker we're really after?
I mean, we're trying to flip someone from the South right now? Like,
yeah. Shadarius Tootle from Auburn is the one we're trying to flip.
So, I mean, but other than that, it feels like he locks on one guy, and I don't like he settles a little bit, and I don't know. I don't like the strategy, but I mean, Newsome, obviously, he was a first year last year, his respected position, and now he has a great veteran in the room with him. So I think he'll improve. But Coach BJ been doing this for too long. I mean, like, to me, he's the one recruiting wise, and like we just didn't get the production out of the linebacker room. When you saw Wink simplify, the X's and O's. You saw Wink simplify the game, and that's when they became better. I didn't think it was like Coach BJ at all. That's my opinion, though.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm just of the opinion that defense or that those linebackers started playing great, and it might have been scheme adjustment, but I don't know. I mean, but I will say the recruiting is. I'm surprised that he's not doing better because he is considered an ace recruiter. He's a former recruiting director at Texas. He's landed a lot. If you look at the players he's landed in his career, a lot of elite blue chip players. But and we have NIL now. So what's the excuse?
None.
Like it's interesting. Yeah, no, you're not wrong, man. Juju, give me your final thoughts here. Actually, cookies or brownies, Juju?
Cookies, bro. Cookies.
All right, it's 3-3, boys. 3-3. We'll figure it out. All right, Juju, give us your final thoughts before you get out of here.
Final thoughts. Jay McBurrows, he's back up and running in practice. It looks like. I expect him probably to be back mid-year. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how much he's gonna contribute. I expect him to be behind. He's a good depth piece if he's healthy, but other than that, I just wanted to get your thoughts on a couple of things I feel like not a lot of people are talking about.
Wait, so you think McBurrow's gonna be a backup behind who?
The only position he plays nickel. I mean, we got some young guys at corner that are really coming. So,
and no one's talking about Josiah Edmond either, and he's big time.
Like, where else is he gonna go? He's not going. He's not dropping back. He's got to be nickel.
Yeah, I agree. So he would be behind Rod Moore. We'll see. I mean, it's his year to do something more. But our Juju, appreciate you, man. You know that.
All right, for sure. I'll be on. Next week.
All right, go blue, brother. Go blue.
Go blue.
All right, boys. Let's get to Nick. What's up, man? You smoking them bleezies or what, bro?
Dude, I actually am, man. I don't know if you could hear me actually exhaling right there. How you been, bro? How you been?
Busy but good, man. It's good busy. So just doing the damn thing, counting down the days. I do have to make an announcement, guys. And some people already know this. We no longer have access to that parking for the spring game. And Dorian, I'll talk to you about that. But they took the lot from us. Those sons of bitches took it from us. So we can no longer sell the parking spots, unfortunately. So we did not take anyone's money. We were waiting to get, even though they told us it was ours, we were waiting to get confirmation again because we were kind of surprised that it was ours. Long story short, it's not ours. So it is what it is, but we will be at the spring game regardless. Looking forward to that. So, all right, what up, Nick? Oh, actually, hold up. Time out. We have a super chat from GT. Let's show our thanks and appreciation to GT. TJ, would our Buckeye friends like to hear directly from Conor? You know what, GT? I think the Buckeyes would absolutely love to get words of encouragement from Conor Stallions, and I think we should make that happen. And actually, Conor was so generous to make a video for us.
What's up, guys? Conor Stallions here. Appreciate you for being a part of the highest tier, the Conor Stallions team. Appreciate you. Go blue. We need you dialed in this year. We got to make another deep run into March, ideally into April this year. Go blue. And also, we're going for 5 in a row against the Buckeyes in football. And let's get back in the playoffs and win this thing again. Go blue. Keep being great.
There we go. Shout out to Conor Stallions, giving his support to the Conor Stallions espionage team, the protectors of the Michigan Manifesto. Shout out to him, man. But yeah, Nick, so what are we talking about, brother? What's on your mind?
Sorry.
What do you puff? You hitting that? You hitting that?
Yeah,
hitting that ball now, bro?
Yeah, I didn't know I was coming on this soon. I thought I had a little more time. I'm done. But yeah, bro. So I've been offline for a little. Had to be offline for a little bit, so I haven't been following things too closely. But I caught a good chunk of you and or your show earlier this week. And so Mikey Keene, does he have like a serious injury, or what's the scoop on that?
So I've heard he'll be out a while. I don't know the injury though. I don't know the exact injury. I just heard he's going to be out a while. So
do you think they hit the transfer portal, try to hit the spring one just for a QB?
I've also heard they may be doing that. Yeah. So they may be They're going to look to see because they want insurance in the quarterback room. Obviously, right now it's just Bryce Underwood and Jaden Davis. I mean, if you want to count Chase Herbstreit, a true freshman, as your third quarterback, I mean, it's Davis Warren's injured, guys. Like, he has a torn ACL. He won't be ready to even for camp. So they're going to need another body. So from what I've heard, they will pursue another one. Now, do they land one? I don't know. I want us to go after DeQuan Finn, get him into the portal. I think he's a perfect, player who can teach Bryce Underwood the game a little bit due to experience. But we'll see. We'll see what they do there. It's to be determined.
And then basically the rumors are, I mean, before this injury was Bryce. I mean, it kind of sounds like he's the clear cut favorite, I'm assuming. Kind of like a too good to not type situation.
Yeah, it is officially, the debate is over.
Oh, man.
Bryce Underwood, game 1, snap 1. It's done. It's done.
So
it's happened.
Do you think this would have happened if Mikey Keene doesn't get injured?
That's a great question. I'm not so sure it is because, and I know some people are probably, you're crazy, TJ. I can hear Marmar thinking right now, you're crazy. Bro, I'll be real. I think Mikey Keene would have given it a good battle, and it would have been good for Bryce to get pushed because Bryce is going to want to prove the competition breeds excellence. And I think Bryce is going to be fine because we know he's a hard worker. But I do actually think if Mikey Keene was healthy and good, that it's potentially possible they go with the veteran. I mean, I just think I think Bryce would have overtaken the veteran fairly quickly, potentially even the very first game. But I do think that Mikey Keene would have at least, I'll say this, we would not be at the point we are right now where we're like, it's done. But it's done.
But this is just a great lesson for fans of any team. You've got to, if you want, I mean, dude, you got to have a true QB room. Like the two guys right now are Jaden Davis and Bryce freaking Underwood. Young guys, highly rated prospects. Really, ideally, we should have had, another 5-star who was like a junior or something like that. Like missing that window sucks so much.
Well, who it should be. It should be fucking Dante Moore right now.
Yeah,
that's who it should be.
Yeah.
Now here's the question though: would Bryce Underwood come if Dante Moore was here? I don't know. But I will say,
maybe throw an extra $5 million his way. He'd probably still come. 15, 17.
But yeah, you never know. But I at the end of the day, it is what it is, and I think Michigan's in a good position now to build on that room. If they can get Ryder Lyons, if they can get Donald Taborn, which I feel extremely good about because he looks at Bryce literally as a big brother mentor, and so I mean we should be in a good spot there. But it's so far away, we'll just have to monitor it. But the good news is this: we have a generational quarterback. I mean, look, there's literally word out of Ann Arbor that and this is crazy. He's exceeding expectations now, probably because he's a freshman who should be planning senior prom right now. You know what I mean? Like, but no, he's leading Michigan's offense, a blue blood program, in freaking April. Right. So, I mean, this isn't normal shit here. And he's only 17, guys.
But see, this is like goes back to like we all knew or should have known this was a possibility. The reason why I said I thought he was going to start was not, obviously you can't predict injuries, but basically just betting, just a 50 flip of a coin. And I'm assuming that he is what they graded him out to be. And he is even beyond a generational type talent, because like you said, like as a prospect coming out of high school, how can he not have a better arm potential than Vince Young? But he also, as a runner, might have elite vision. We'll have to see. And
I mean, his arm is better than Vince Young's.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have to say, like Vince Young is a player, one of the greatest college football players ever. But I mean, as a pure prospect, like that's what when you compare, when you start throwing names like Vince Young around, and then you look at his tape and you're like, oh, wait a second, this dude actually has a far better arm.
He does.
Than Vince Young. Then you're talking about a dude with a ceiling that we haven't seen before. And he doesn't even need to fully reach that ceiling to blow all these other dudes away. You know, good on Jaden Davis, man. I'm glad he's made progress. He's actually, I'm really interested to see what he becomes and what, you know, what kind of happens. And good on him for, it sounds like he's made some real progress, right? Like he's developing nicely. Is that fairly accurate, would you say?
Yeah, so it does appear his throwing motion's improved, and obviously he's better. I mean, I'm excited to see him duel Bryce Underwood in the spring game. You know, just I mean, look, we know he's not pushing Bryce, so let's get that out of the way. But it'd be nice to see I want to see Jaden Davis succeed. I want to see him play well, because I was very high on Jaden Davis. You know, like I was aware of his limitations. I'll be honest, I did underestimate the throwing mechanics. And there were people who warned us. I mean, there was a lot of people who really dive into the film, and they're obviously better quarterback analyzers than myself, but the mechanics were a real issue this past year. So we'll see how that looks in the spring game. And I am anticipating we see Jaden Davis play in the very first game, because I do think Michigan's going to be up some scores in that third quarter going into the fourth. And I think Jaden Davis will come into that game. Unless we get a transfer quarterback, he may be the backup, but we'll see.
See, I was never sold on I don't know, it like doesn't really add up to me. People who were for sitting Bryce Underwood, right? The logic there is obviously, well, don't throw him to the wolves. But it's like, if he as a talent truly gives you the best option, his ceiling to win, more likely to win, that's exactly why you want to start him snap one, because you want him to get as many reps in that first game, which is a complete cakewalk. Isn't it like New Mexico or something like that?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. They're going to suck this year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I haven't
sure too.
really looked into it a lot, but from what I've heard, they're going to be like one of the worst teams in all of college football. So, dude, put him in there. That is not throwing him to the wolves. And it's going to get him, dude, like, I don't know, is that going to be a night game? Have they like released?
I think it is. I actually think that is. Let's double check. Actually, I think that is.
That's perfect, bro. You want him in that 110,000 crowd under the lights to an opponent he can't lose.
Oh, you know, they don't have the time yet. Never mind.
Well,
I heard rumors that they were going to make that a night game.
It's important to, I think, give him most of the reps in the first game and start him to get him ready. That's exactly why you need, like, New Mexico is zero threat. And even if it's the competition isn't great, it's the moment, right? Being in the maize and blue in front of a nationally televised game, like just experiencing that before you got to go on the road to Oklahoma is hugely beneficial, far more beneficial than the approach of like, you know, let's give him a few reps in game one, but we'll give Mikey Keene most of the reps. And, you know, then you go on the road to Oklahoma, and I don't think they're going to be a great offense, but I still think they'll have a really good defense. You know,
we'll see. I mean, they added John Mateer, a good quarterback. I'm high on him. We'll see. I mean, but at the end of the day, here's the reality, boys. It's about to be very exciting next season. Every single game, every single drive is going to be. We're literally going to watch this kid develop in front of our eyes, and it's going to be. I feel confident saying he's not going to fail. Like, I feel very confident that he's going to be all right. Now, what does that mean for us? I do think we're 10-2. Like, I think we're 10-2. I think that's where we can go. But I'm trying to like caution our fan base, because I know you guys are like 10-2 or bust. But I think it's potentially possible there could be some growing pains here. And 9-3 might be realistic. And if it's 8-5, I know people will be upset, but I do think if people see Bryce Underwood play, I think they're going to be just okay. Because I mean, like, just fine is what I mean by that, because he's gonna have so many flashes that people are just gonna be like so excited for the future. But all right, Nick, let's get your final thoughts here. Did I ask you cookie or brownie?
No.
All right, cookies or brownies?
Probably brownie.
All right, 4-3. Brownies back on top. That's how it should be. All is right in the world right now.
I mean,
All
I'll
right,
take
good deal, Nick.
chocolate cheesecake over both. I mean, both of those options are garbage.
Do not
compared to
add
chocolate
desserts into
cheesecake. So I'm actually a little offended. You gave me
Nicholas.
some shitty options. What
Nicholas,
the fuck is that, bro?
smoke another fucking blunt, bro, and don't add options in my goddamn dessert question, okay?
Okay, all right, I got you.
We'll
I'll
do the
give you my-
chocolate cake poll next
my-
week, all right? Jesus, trying to complicate you.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
All right, Nick,
All
give
right,
us your
yeah.
final thoughts before we get you out of here, brother.
Final thought is a prediction. I don't know if it's the bowl I just smoked, but I'm feeling hype. I'm thinking about it. It's making more sense. I'm willing to take the plunge. I think in the same year, before Bryce Underwood goes to the NFL, in the same year, we will see Michigan in the Final Four in the football playoffs compete for a national championship. They might go farther. I'm not saying that they won't win it that year, but I'm saying at least they'll get to that point in the same season that Michigan basketball also makes a Final Four and is competing for a title. So hold me to that prediction. It's probably not high chances, but I'm feeling good. So
I mean, I think it's potentially possible, man. But Jordan wants to let you know you've offended him by adding other options. Don't do it again, Nick. All right.
Hey,
Don't do
I'm
it
just
again.
an honest guy, man. I'm not gonna gaslight you.
Well, I mean, listen, there's two options. I don't need honesty here. I need either brownies or cookies. That's all we're
All
asking.
right.
But
All right,
Nick.
man. I got you.
Go
All right,
enjoy
thanks
your
for
munchies,
taking-
buddy.
Hell yeah, bro. Thanks for taking my call. Peace.
All right, peace out, brother. Peace. All right, we got Detroit Kyle in the house. He is either working or watching us and not working, but typically he's working. So shout out to Detroit Kyle. Bryce won't let himself fail. Also agree it comes with a couple growing pains. Bryce and this backfield will be a 10-win floor. Appreciate you, Detroit Kyle. I hope to see you at the spring game. All right, guys, you guys asked for it and you guys got it. Doreen, aka Asian Posh, is in the house. First time caller. What's up, Doreen?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. See that? I called Garrison's show and now I'm calling your show.
I know, but you did call his show first, so he gets bragging rights there, which is a bit frustrating, but whatever. We're working. We have bigger things we're set on, which is obviously you joining us on the spring game for your official visit to Ann Arbor, and we're looking forward to that. So are you excited to come join us at the spring game?
I am. And it's okay about the free parking, but are you guys going to meet up before the game? Because that's really where
Yes,
it's gonna
we will.
happen, right?
So right now I'm currently in conversations with, all right, so we'll let the cat out the bag. So currently I'm talking with Hailgate. So that should be our meetup point before the spring game, where we're going to have everyone meet up with us at Hailgate, which is their tailgate on the golf course. And by the way, you can park on the golf course. I don't think parking will be too expensive there.
Okay.
And
will they keep my Tesla?
Yeah. Well, it is a left-leaning campus. I can't promise you, but they have insurance for that, Dorian.
I know. Well, there's cameras everywhere, so Tesla cam.
That's true.
Wham,
That's
bam,
true.
Tesla
They did
cam.
activate those, didn't they?
All right, go
So, yeah, definitely. So, all right. So, give us your thoughts here. You watch a lot of podcasts, Doreen. Give us your top 3 podcasts.
Give me, my God. Well, of course, Menace to Sports.
Is that number 1?
It is number 1 for sure. My goodness, you put me on the spot here. Shoot. Well, I do love the Buckeye Brigade right now, and I'll put you guys up there. I don't really put you guys up there because I'm just a friend of your show. But
You're a friend of our show. What does that mean?
Yeah. Well, that just means I'm a Buckeye. I can't put you ahead of, How about you? And I'm trying to think of other ones. Bucknuts, it's really good. I really enjoy that. And that's with Dave Biddle. I really like Dave Biddle and J Buck. And I don't know what a third one would be, because I used to have some ones that I really love, but I don't ride with them anymore. But I do wish them well.
Yeah. So I mean, I actually think you're lying. I think you put our show top 3 for sure because you're here all the time and our community loves you.
And I do. You know what? You guys are a blessing in disguise because although some crap happens along the way, what I did find is that although we're rivals, your fan base has been very kind to me. And I truly appreciate that. And that's Blue Wolverine, Jordan, Juju, Marmar, you name it, Moose. I'm sure I can go on. And you and John. And you could have really just piled on and just says, "Oh my gosh, Buckeyes are crappy and that's the way they are." But you guys actually have, welcomed me into your fan base, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no, like, look, we have actually, so, you already know this. We respect the rivalry, and we're here. There's a lot of Buckeyes who watch our show, and as long as it's respectable, any Buckeyes welcome. We're just here. We're really here to talk ball and have a good time, and obviously, you are a prime example of that. So, we appreciate you, Doreen.
Thank you.
So here's the question of the night: brownies or cookies?
Cookies. And I did. I did want to tell you something though, which you may or may not know, and a lot of people may not know. Zach Smith and I have a really good connection, not basically because of Minister Sports, but because I was the paralegal who was in Delaware, Ohio, when he went to jail.
No shit.
Just so you know. Yes. And I can honestly tell everybody in Buckeye Nation and Wolverine Nation that he is a good man, never beat on any woman. All he did was he made a mistake about going into a school where his ex-wife was, and they were supposed to stay away from each other. And he was there to just get his kids. But because he went in, he broke the order, and that's why he went to jail. And that's why as a prosecutor's team, I was the paralegal, we did prosecute him. But he is a good guy. I'm telling everyone right now, Zach Smith is a terrific father, and he really is a good guy. There
we go. So Doreen clears the air, and Doreen, and obviously because we've talked about it. I have zero issue with Zach Smith. I actually respect Zach Smith's approach in terms of how he does his podcast, his show. I think we have similar ethic mentalities, and we just stay authentic with it. Now we are obviously on opposite sides of the fence here, but I have no issue.
Not really. You got it. He's Buckeye centric, and of course his grandfather was Earl Bruce. But I can assure you, he would go to a Michigan game and be okay with it. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Fair enough.
And Blue Wolverine's a mod on there, just like I am.
Yeah, well, Blue Wolverine. I mean, geez, Blue Wolverine's everywhere.
Awesome.
Yeah,
he's actually he's one of the best ones I've ever met on any platform. And salute to you, Blue Wolverine.
Yeah, absolutely. We love Blue Wolverine. Well, all right, Doreen, I want to thank you for calling in. We appreciate you. Do not be a stranger, though. All right, I want to hear more from you.
I will. And you know what? And just get in touch with me about where you guys going to meet. If you can send me the link or whatever of the location, we'll be there. My husband and I both.
Absolutely. We will. Yep, I'll keep you updated. All right, Doreen, go Blue. Go Blue. All right. Doreen ruining the damn brownie cookie poll, son of a gun. All right, we appreciate Doreen. I actually think we're number 2 behind Menace of Sports, but we'll let her, keep the charades going. We appreciate her. All right, we got Ramez in the house. Actually, we got Colby and Ramez. So these are our last 2 callers of the nights, guys. I just want to appreciate everybody. Blue Wolverine 499, Queen Doreen, he calls her. I think we can definitely run with that. Doreen, we appreciate her. We all know this. Ramez, what is up, brother?
What's up, TJ? How you doing, man?
I'm doing real good, man. Although I was doing better, but currently it's 4-4 in the cookie brownie debate. Where you stand on the cookie brownie debate?
It's actually a cookie.
Shit, man. No, I'm doing worse. all of a sudden things are turning for the worse. So currently it is 5-4 cookie. So all right. Well, let's see if Colby can get us back. We'll find out though. But what's up, Ramez? How we doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing good. Wanted to just call in. Didn't call in a while, and just want to check and see how everything is going.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have kind of checked out a little bit. February was a little bit of a dry month, I would say, for most people. But March, I think things are picking up, and now we're in April, and I think people got some football fever going on because I think the Bryce hype is getting people excited. And I think a lot of good things are happening right now. My biggest question right now with Michigan is this offensive line going to gel? because that's kind of where we are. Although I will say, I feel better about the left side now that Giovanni El-Hadi is officially at left guard. So, we'll have to see how they develop. And Joe.
Right next to Evan Link, right?
Right. So it's Evan Link, Giovanni El-Hadi. You got Crippen at center. Then you got Nathan Afobe at right guard. And then you have Andrew Sprague at right tackle.
Do you think Babel Loa or Ty Haywood could be able to crack it at some point?
I anticipate one of them getting some opportunity in a rotation, like 6 lineman or heavy sets, goal line, middle to end of the year. I just like Andrew Sprague got some run. I anticipate. Now I will say this though, if there is issues where somebody's a turnstile and they're not doing a good job, and there's a weak link in that offensive line, you could see one of these young, promising offensive tackles put into the starting 5. So we have the best 5 on the field. I think that's potentially possible. But let's hope that actually is not the case, because that would mean, it could be a blessing in disguise, because what if one of these dudes are just monsters and they're dominating? Kind of like Andrew Sprague last year was very good as his first time getting some starts. So we'll see. It's the good news is we have the talent. It's just about, are they ready?
You're just a little bit shaky because last year you found guys that were not supposed to be there get elevated. So whenever you hear about freshmen getting elevated, you get butterflies in your stomach just because you just had it.
And I'm honestly not high. I'm not high on freshmen starting in the trenches at all. I'm opposed to that. But you never know. It can. If they can handle it, they can handle it. If not, then. But Michigan should be in a better spot than last year. I'll say that. Because one of the things too that's going to benefit this offense of line and offense is Chip Lindsey does a lot of quick throws, a lot of screen passes, quick slants, and that is offensive line's best friend, because defensive lines can't be as aggressive. They have to be, because they're getting burned. You might see you might see edges dropping back to try and limit those quick throws in the slot like that. So I think Chip Lindsey's creative enough to help the offense. Plus, another thing that helps offensive line is if they get Bryce Underwood moving, which they will, out of the pocket, defensive linemen are not going to catch Bryce, moving to the sideline and throwing on the run here. So I think we're in a good spot. It's just obviously
this is actually where it gets complicated. It's there's an issue I think right now what's going on because, as you probably know, it's for the best interest of Jaden Davis is to transfer out, right? You don't have an opportunity to ever play at Michigan for the next 3 years. So,
I think Jaden Davis is not going to transfer this year. I think he'll transfer next year.
And with Mikey Keene getting hurt, you're not going to be able to run Bryce Underwood as much as you would have done if Mikey Keene was still healthy.
Absolutely, this is true.
So that's where things get complicated.
Bryce is getting more opportunity. He is QB1 getting the reps with the first team offense, and he's getting the most. And then Jaden Davis is splitting. He's getting also opportunity with the first team offense and second team. So, it in the long run, this is probably maybe best for Bryce, although you could argue you would want somebody with veteran experience to push him, which could make him better. But at the end of the day, it is what it is.
But you want to be also like level-headed and be honest with yourself and say, Jaden Davis, if he got the right offer at the right place where he could see himself starting in a couple of years, he's not going to wait on Michigan and say, well, you guys need me this year. And we're going to understand that. We're going to say, hey, we understand that you don't have a place here. And if the right, perfect opportunity showed up in the spring portal, he's going to go, and we have to understand that. And if that did happen, now we have a problem. Because I think there's potentially a big problem on the horizon here. If Jaden Davis got the right opportunity to go, and now you are looking for a QB from the portal, and then you're gonna lose Jaden Davis.
Wait, what's the problem?
The problem is that Jaden Davis may have the right opportunity at the perfect school where there's a path for him in a couple of years to start, and it's take it or leave it right now. Next year, you have to push your luck again and see what's out there. But if he found the best opportunity for him right now, he has to go because that's for the best interest for him. And we're going to be trying to get a QB from the portal and losing Jaden Davis, and it actually there's a potential for a very bad scenarios in terms of the depth in the room.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't get a transfer quarterback, there is a very bad scenario for depth in the room. But I think, listen, I think we can count on Underwood. Obviously, we can count on Jaden Davis at least. I don't think he's transferring at all. I honestly think he's gonna get his degree, guys. That's just my opinion. Because his projection isn't high right now, so he's gonna want the Michigan degree. Now, I'm assuming that's not anything I've heard. It's just doing the math here. And then, so I anticipate him being here at least one more year. And I think Michigan's going to go for another quarterback. So we'll see at what quality level is that quarterback? And is it somebody Bryce, or is it just going to be somebody veteran who's looking to get a little bit of money and potentially get a Michigan degree or something, or go start a grad program in Michigan? I don't know. We'll see.
That's the only option because if you remember, I was always on the opposite argument of Kinetic and you about Miller Moss coming to Michigan, because I always thought I would never ask a QB to do something I wouldn't do it myself. I would never put myself in a situation where I limit my possibilities of going to the NFL because I want to compete or whatever the argument is. I always look for the path of the least resistance and the path that would get me to where I want. Of course, challenge me, a good place and everything, but I wouldn't put myself in harm's way. And Miller Moss coming to Michigan was putting himself in harm's way. And any QB you get has to be a QB that is not really looking for the NFL at the moment. Otherwise, he's risking his thing. Yeah. So yeah. Like what I also wanted to ask you, I think you guys haven't been talking about this. Nobody in the calls or the comments have been mentioning that Chip Lindsey's first year OC, there's a risk, not a risk to it, but there is time. He probably would need time. So a lot of people are very optimistic that, hey, everything is going to hit the ground running. It could potentially be like also something like Wink Martindale. You just have to gel to the players, to the team, bring them back for the bye week, talk to them again about what happened on the field and try to get up from there. So I also think there is a lot of hype going into Chip Lindsey, and it needs to be also thought of like we have to give the guy his full opportunity and not ask too much in the first year.
What does that mean? What is too much?
Too much is like asking him to the offense become like you said top 50, so that's reasonable. But like nobody is like don't expect top 20 and don't expect everybody knows what they're doing. There's going to be like confusion. You're talking about drop back and throw in the slot. Well, the players are still not really mastering that yet, or mastering the quick throw techniques or the high tempo or quick tempo or something like that. Like, you're gonna practice. You can practice as much as you want, right? But then when you hit the field and then you watch the film and then he talks to them again and then things they didn't hone in and then we get the bye week and then they hone in and then after the bye week they get a little bit better. All I'm just saying, like, we shouldn't expect that we'll hit the ground running because it's not fair. It's just not fair.
Yeah, hit the ground running in terms of like being some dominant offense. I do think we're gonna have some early success against New Mexico. I just think Bryce Underwood's gonna be the best player on the field type of deal. And I think Chip Lindsey's I think against New Mexico, we're gonna do just fine. The question is against Oklahoma, but by the way, their defense is not like good or anything. They actually have a very questionable defense. That's gonna be the test. Like because it's going to be on the road. It's going to be in a hostile environment. I agree with you. I think I'll be real with you. My expectation is top 40 offense, but if it is like 44th or whatever, like I'm not mad. But I do think there's going to be a bit of a growth phase for this offense because it's potentially possible we're limited with weapons. It's potentially possible, if we don't get another wide receiver addition that, I don't know. Justice Haynes is so damn good. Who's going to step up at tight end though? That's a great. Is Marlon Kleiner, is Hogan Hansen ready? They should be. And I don't know. I mean, if anyone's expecting a top 25 offense, I think you're crazy.
Yeah.
I
just saw a lot of hypes. I just saw a lot of people like 12-0 and things like. I was like, hey, Chip Lindsey, this first year OC. So be fair to the guy. And I know you're collecting last thoughts from me right now because you didn't you have another caller. So yeah, the last thing I just wanted to say, you always know that I've always been that Bryce Underwood will be the first game starter. If you remember, you have a lot of callers, so you probably won't remember, but I've always been saying that Bryce Underwood will be snap one starter from a business decision. Nobody's going to pay X amount of millions to get it for a couple of years. So, and I did believe that he will start over Mikey Keene no matter what. So the good and the bad, I think from the good standpoint is like, instead of you going shaky, don't know what's going on, having Bryce Underwood as the number one starter and getting more reps in practice, that's actually going to be better because you don't want to be splitting and then deciding on Bryce Underwood and he didn't have enough practice. So from that standpoint, I think it's good. From a negative standpoint, losing Mikey Keene and trying to find a QB in the portal, and potentially losing Jaden Davis. So I disagree with you on that one. There's a potential there. Then you're not going to be able to run Bryce Underwood as much because you're going to be nervous, and that would take a little bit from the game. If you would have had Mikey Keene and you would run Bryce Underwood without being too worried about it, that if he got nicked up, that your season is done, that would limit the game a little bit. So there's the good and the bad. You just have to take it for what it is.
Fair enough, Ramez. Fair enough. I don't know if I've asked you this. Are you going to the spring game, Ramez?
I was about to say, yeah, I've always said yes. So if it's 60 and above, I'll be there. If it's below 60, I'm not going to be there.
Son of a bitch, Ramez. All right, well,
I'm watching the weather. I mean, like, it's going to be 59 this Saturday. Hopefully, Saturday after it'll be over 60 degrees, and of course, no rain. If it rained, I'm out.
Well, all right, I respect that one. The rain,
because I'm bringing my son. He's going to be 4 years old. I know that B-Dub, did B-Dub say he's going to bring his son finally or not?
I believe. Shit, I don't know. B-Dub, let us know. Are you bringing your kid or not? I don't know if he is. He might. I know he got the green light to be able to go though, and he will be there because I know that for sure. So.
It's just gonna be too cold for him if it was below 60 degrees.
I can respect that. All right, Ramez. We'll appreciate you. I'm gonna get to our last caller here. Go blue, my friend.
Go blue.
All right, boys. So update on the cookie brownie poll. I am disappointed in my audience, but it is okay because this is America and you have the right to choose what you want. And it is currently a 63 to 37 poll. And the brownie team Brownie is down right now, but we're not out. There's still time. We have another phone call here. We got Colby in the house. Let's get Colby up here. What up, Colby? How we doing, man?
Doing all right. Doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing? Last call of the night, brother. Let's make it a good one.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you heard this coaching hire, Travis Russell.
Did he got hired to Michigan?
Yeah, assistant quarterbacks coach. I was wondering if you guys ever heard of him or not.
I have not. I mean, I know Michigan may actually. Wait a minute. I kind of recall that because Chip Lindsey's our quarterback coach, and I do remember them getting an assist. I just didn't remember who it was. So, all right, what's your thoughts on Travis Russell?
I actually know him personally. He grew up in the same town as I did. I've known him ever since he was a kid. My brother and him were really good friends. He was the quarterback for my high school, won 2 state titles for us, and then went to Ferris, won a state title for them. We actually knew he was interviewing before he took the job. So As a coach, I think
No
he's
shit.
pretty good. I'm not sure how good. I'm not super close with him, but he's a really good guy.
All right, well, that's cool, man. So you're from Grand Rapids?
Yes, I am.
No shit. Okay, very cool, man. All right. Well, we learned something. Hey, well, if you can get some intel for us, Colby, let us know.
I'm not sure how much intel I'll get, but I'll try.
All right, fair enough, man. All right, so what else is on your mind, man?
Mikey Keene, I guess you said out for a while. Do you mean like out for the whole off season or just?
I don't know. I can't say I know. All I know is it's not short term. Like it's not like next week type deal shit. Like he's gonna be out a little bit here. It's not a small injury from my understanding, but it's not a season ender either from my understanding. I think. I'm gonna be real with you. I assume that. I don't know. I just know that it's not small. But I don't know. I don't think it's a career ender. Like I just don't know what it is. So I don't want to assume. I'm not trying to throw that out there. Here's what we know. He's injured and it's gonna be a little bit. What does that mean? I can't say I know for sure.
So what quarterbacks would they be going after in the portal? Like which ones are available?
I don't know. I don't know. The only quarterback I'm throwing out right now is DeQuan Finn because it was between Mikey Keene and DeQuan Finn last year or last portal, and DeQuan Finn's a natural addition. Okay. But we'll see if that's the case. If it is, it is. If it's not, we'll find out.
DeQuan Finn, was that the one that committed to Baylor?
That's right. He was at Baylor from Toledo. Very good, athletic, dual threat, has an arm, plays with so much heart. All effort. I think he'd be a very good addition to Michigan.
In our offensive line, who was the guy from Ferris? Is there any chance he cracks the rotation?
Lawrence Tatar is the transfer from Ferris. I am now. He's going to battle Nathan Afobe. Giovanni Alhadi is left guard. So he's going to be joining the team in June. Lawrence Tatar will be joining the team in June. He will be battling Nathan Afobe. We'll see who wins that battle. But Nathan Afobe is going to have the head start because he's already starting in spring ball.
I didn't hear what the last part said.
Nathan Afobe's already starting at right guard. So,
okay.
Hey Colby, can you turn me down on your speaker because we're getting some feedback?
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's starting at right guard already. So he's going to have the advantage of just already knowing the offense, getting comfortable, things like that.
Fair enough. And then running back, I think we're loaded especially at the first two, but the third I'm not comfortable with Benjamin Hall. I think he's really good in the spring game, but
it could be Micah Capana. I mean, I don't think the third running back is decided right now. I'm real curious. I don't see how they don't. I'll be and I know the Capanas are friends of our program, but I mean, just as a football fan, and I just don't know how they don't utilize him.
That's the thing with me too. It seems like a lot of guys who've had ridiculous amount of speed, Michigan, especially at the running back position, they just not have. Michigan has not utilized it very well because they like to run that smash mouth type.
Yeah, well, it's not even that though. Like you have to be able to pass protect, and I don't know if that is or is not an issue. I have no idea because I'm not at practice. But even so, get him in the field and use him as a weapon. I mean, if he got some space, he can do something with it. I know
that's exactly how I felt about Edwards. I mean, everyone felt that way about Donovan Edwards.
And there you go though. How did they utilize fucking Edwards, bro?
They kept running him into a brick wall.
That was the worst utilization of a player we had last year. Like, it's disgusting how they used Donovan Edwards.
It was very bad.
They did him a disservice, man. Like, quite honestly.
Yeah, and not only him a disservice. I mean, NFL scouts, they're looking at him as where's he going to get drafted?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, quite honestly, I think it'd be like 5th round or later. To be honest.
At best, in my opinion, if he's utilized right.
Yeah, and I'll be real too. I'll be very honest here. And I know he's a U of M guy, but I do not anticipate he'll have a very strong NFL career because he goes down on first contact so easily, and that you just can't do it in the NFL, man.
I've always wondered why he always went down on first contact too. Was it because he's kind of tall for a running back, or is it just the way he's built?
I have no idea, dude. Like because you would actually think because of the way he's built, he'd be very good. He needs to do more balance training, like Alvin Kamara. What makes Alvin Kamara, like I don't know if anyone's ever seen Alvin Kamara's workout videos, but he does the most unique balance ball. Like he's constantly building his balance with his strength training, and that's why he's so hard to get down. I feel like Donovan Edwards really needs to incorporate that, but it's almost too late. It'd be so tough to get it in one off season. Yeah. It's one of those things that'll probably take 2 to 3 off seasons to get like right. I don't know. We'll see. Wish him the best though.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, cookies or brownies? I'm gonna have to go brownies, especially if they have peanut butter on them.
It's because you're a smart person. You're a smart man, Colby. You're not crazy. Like 58% of our damn audience is nuts. That's all right. More brownies for me. I'm not even mad about it.
No, me either. Yeah, if the cookies were snickerdoodles, I'd have to say it's a push. Though I mean, I can't not touch anything.
The thing about the cookie brownie debate, Colby, is there's a lot of cookie options.
Yeah,
and I will be honest.
That's what makes it kind of BS.
Chocolate chip cookies right out of the oven. Yeah, I mean, I have a weakness for that, but brownies are just so good, even after they're warm. Like brownies are, my mom makes the best brownies, dude. Like they're legit, But I don't know. I think 58% of this community is nuts. But it's cool.
I don't even know if I can put brownies or cookies in the oven because I just have to have that cookie dough before it's even in there. I know it's not
really. Oh, you're a psycho, dude. What the hell's wrong with you? You can't wait. You can't wait for it to get baked and.
I can wait, but it's like like low key. I think the cookie dough tastes better than it actually.
No,
it's not good for you, but it tastes better, I think, than the actual cookie or the brownie itself.
Wait, the cookie dough tastes better than the what?
Than the actual cookie when it's done, or the brownie when it's done.
You're crazy. Oh, you're more crazy than this 58% of our community right now. Fucking nuts, dude. I've actually never understood the whole.
Can we not agree that cookie dough is amazing?
No, I'm not a big cookie dough guy. I'm not. I think that's nuts. All right, so here's a food take that people don't probably know that I think is absolutely insane, and that's cereal. I think cereal is nuts. Why am I putting milk, cold ass milk, in my cereal to make it soggy? That's disgusting.
Cereal's also
I may have lost the viewers tonight, huh?
Cereal is also kind of like they say it's so great for you, and you read it and it has all this.
What is great about it? It's sugar. It's bullshit. Exactly. I don't do that. I don't pancake
eat it for breakfast.
Give me some good pancakes. IHOP. I love me some IHOP, bro.
Yeah.
No, Johnny, you're tripping, bro. It's nothing but it's not even food. It's like sugar clumps and cold ass soggy milk. See, here we go. I already know. I know.
Oh God, no.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll do the cereal debate. I mean, like, what would you rather have? See here now. Next week we're gonna do another poll: cereal, pancakes, an omelet. Like, what would you rather have?
Give me
the protein pancakes from IHOP. What up?
Between the three?
Yeah, what would you rather have? Cereal, pancakes, an omelet, or French toast?
Probably pancakes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Pancakes all the way. We know this. All right. So, all right, Kobe, give us your final thoughts here, brother, because we gotta get out of here.
All right. Spring game. I want to go to it. Depends on my brother. It's the day before Easter. He might be coming home, but he does live in Ann Arbor, so I'm going to convince him. Hey, let's go to the game, and then go.
You gotta go, bro, and link up with us too, because we'll be there. So we will be there, guys, to give everyone an update on our. So Friday night we'll be out in Ann Arbor. Saturday before the game, I'm working with Hailgate. It's not fully confirmed yet. Let me confirm that, but that's kind of the plan right now. And then we're gonna do a post game that we have to do for our shows, and then after that, we're gonna go out again Saturday night. So we'll have a good ass time with
the post game at?
So we're gonna do it at our Airbnb because we got to just do a show, and all of us are gonna be on one podcast amongst all the different shows. So we're gonna do a post game, and then yeah, we're not gonna be at a bar like we originally intended, just because the logistics of it all and setting it up and Wi-Fi. It's just it's too. But
where's your Airbnb?
Well, I can't. Well, that's classified, sir.
Oh,
that's classified.
Duh.
But we will be doing another post game. We're gonna do 2 post games, guys. We're gonna do a post game for the real spring game, and then when they do the television replay, we're gonna do another post game because we want to talk about it with you guys. You know, we want everyone who is not able to come to the game. We want to get everyone's thoughts and opinions and all that. So we'll have a good time with it.
Sounds good. Yeah, let me know where you guys are at on Friday.
Yeah, we will. So we will. I will update our plans. So we'll update on the show, and we actually have next Monday, guys, which is actually my birthday. We have the Avengers Hangout. I may or may not be able to make that. We'll see. I may not. We'll see. But we will update you guys up to the spring game what our plans are, and if you guys follow me on Twitter, and our boy Kyoki, he'll be at the spring game. Shout out to Kyoki. And gosh damn it, Kyoki. Come on, man. It's brownies. We know it's brownies. All right. So right here. So we're gonna be at Friday. So I don't know yet, but if you guys follow me on social media, I will let you know. Like I will let you know where we're going. You'll know where we are. We can all link up. We'll have a good time. So we'll have a good time with it. But all right, Kobe, give us your final thoughts, man, before we get out of here.
I cannot wait for this football season, and I'm very excited for the basketball season, although it was disappointing. And hopefully I can hear some transfer portal news on the basketball team, too.
Well, they have money, and they just recently they're currently in a battle with a big-time player that I won't name, although the name's out there if you want. You know, it's not hard to figure out. And the queen has been summoned. We'll say that, and we'll see how it goes. I will say, initially when I heard about it, we were in pole position, and then there has been a counter, and it's up to Michigan to see. You know, so now it's up to Michigan to see if they want to continue playing this game. So that's where we are. So, but regardless whether they land this player or not, the good news is the resources are there, and that's what I'm most excited about. And you know, I think Michigan's gonna be just fine. You know, Dusty proved himself in year 1, so we should have a good team going forward, and we'll see what they can do with it. But that's kind of where we are, Kobe, right now. But I will say this: if they don't land them, we will be landing other players in the portal. Michigan is pursuing a lot of options. They're not done yet, you know, so there's a lot more to add. So we'll just stay tuned and see how they handle it.
Sounds good. All right,
man.
I'm gonna
go blue, Kobe. All right, go blue, brother. All right, guys, that is the call-in show. We had a hell of a show. We went an extra hour, and we went 2.5 hours, but it was just a good show. I want to give a shout out to our financial contributors again. GT, thank you. Defending the Natty, Blue Wolverine, Bull, Detective Loki, thank you for becoming a member. Keith Rebar, thank you. Remez, thank you. Detroit Kyle, thank you. And I believe that was everybody. If I missed anybody, I apologize. But shout out to you guys. Another good show. We had a great time tonight. Obviously, our next show is going to be Tuesday, 8 p.m. with myself and John, and then we will do another call-in show next week, 8 o'clock, same time. We do have the Michigan Avengers Hangout, which is VIP only, members only. Shout out to our members. And that will be Monday. I don't know the time, though. So forgive me for that. We'll update that in the socials. Just stay tuned to it. But shout out to everybody. We appreciate you. And as you guys know, it is always go blue.